What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back with another instant match reaction. I'm here with Barrow. We've been dumped out the FA Cup by Aston Villa. 2-1 in what was ultimately a disappointing day for Tottenham yet again, especially at home. Another defeat, loud boos at the end of the game. Even fans, or home fans, chanting "You're being sacked in the morning" at points in that first half. But there were some positives to take away. First half was a bit of an embarrassment yet again. A lot of the same with what we've been seeing, struggling to get forward, struggling to attack, struggling to have periods of possession. But Aston Villa looking sharp, incisive, opening Tottenham up, looking confident. And before we knew it, we felt, well, right at the end of the first half, found ourselves 2 goals down. But opening goal by Buendia, a brilliant move from Aston Villa. Great build-up, playing in between the lines. Tottenham not being able to keep pace with them. And Tottenham, I think, really struggled to contain Aston Villa in that first half. They were like a class above, weren't they, in the first half?
Yeah, look, very professional performance from Aston Villa. Look, there was drama, there was excitement. We got a bit excited for 15 minutes when we had that spell in the second half. But it's all a little bit too little too late from Tottenham again.
We wait till we're 2-0 down, don't we?
Yeah,
and,
we had to wait until we were 2-0 down before we started, showing what was going on. It's just frustrating. Paulinho on that, from second half to from the first half is like night and day. Porro again from the first half to second half of 9 days. He obviously cleared that ball off the line. But it's just another game where we have to, have the boos from the home fans at half time. We have to see a reaction. We saw a reaction, but I don't know how much longer this is going to carry on, because if the home fans are singing "You're getting sacked in the," we thought it was the away fans, and then Ben messaged you and said it was the home fans.
Yeah. Apparently it started with the away fans and the home fans joined in. At half time, and when that starts happening, it's never a good sign, is it? It's always you're on a hiding to nothing, really, when the home fans start really turning and singing "You're sacked in the morning." But you know what? Half-time was understandable. The second goal happens. Tell passes it down the line, gives the ball away. And there was Aston Villa again, quick interchanges. Marlon into Buendia, excellent flick into Rodgers, and then he had a brilliant finish. And you know what? 2-0 didn't flatter Aston Villa at half-time, did it? And
no.
It was really difficult to watch, I think, at times in that first half. I think Aston Villa were really playing us off the park. I think we had one moment, which was Xavi driving through the heart of that Villa midfield brilliantly. Plays a nice flick into Moani, and he finished it well, but he was offside. So that was obviously a massive shame. But I think that was obviously as good as it got, really, for Spurs in that first half. We really struggled to have any sort of kind of threat. Again, apart from maybe a couple of half chances from set pieces, Villa were just kind of all over us. Again, we were just playing it long, no real intent to attack them, and we're just basically giving Villa possession. That first half, they had in that first half they had 63% possession, and they were just dominating us. We had 4 shots to their 8, but that did all change in the second half. To be fair, that did all change in the second half. We had a bit more possession. They had 57%. So, we got a bit more of the ball. And all of a sudden, we had a bit more intent about us. We were going off, and the pressing was a lot more intense, a lot more aggressive. And we came out in that second half with a real point to prove and a real kind of goal of getting back in this game. And we did get the goal. Moani shoves Bogal off the ball brilliantly, aggressively, drives through the middle, pass it off to Odegaard, really great finish. And all of a sudden, Tottenham got their tails up, and we did have lots of chances to get back in that game.
Yeah, we did, but the frustrating things, when we had the chances, it was only for 15 minutes. Then Villa started being, more consistent, more persistent, more professional about what they wanted to do during that game. I don't know. I'm not sure. We can play well for 15 minutes, but where's the rest of it coming from? We're not going to play well for 90 minutes, but it's always 10, 15 minutes in a game, and we do enough, but we just didn't do enough again. I think the subs, I'm not sure about Porro coming off for Spence. Was that because he was on a yellow card? Is that the only reason? Because maybe Spence should have come on for Davis. Paulinho obviously was unlucky, and obviously it did all kick off at the end, the kind of melee. I don't know. Defensively, I don't think we were amazing defensively, especially in that first half. We made up for it in the second half, but it's another performance where the Tottenham fans are going to be sat there looking at things, going, "What was that?" And I don't know where we're not getting any better. Is the issue? We weren't worse today than we have been.
We're probably one half better displays in that second half than we have been for many games this season.
But is that what we're going to do? We're out the FA Cup now. Okay, that's another chance of a trophy. You can sit there and say we've got no chance of winning a trophy, but look at what happened last season. The kit didn't inspire us. The drum didn't inspire us. The trumpet didn't inspire us. The fans weren't inspired. The players didn't inspire us. I just going down. What are we going to see if once we get past and get knocked out of the Champions League in the early part? In the next few weeks. Let's just say what are we going to see? I don't know.
What conclusions do you take out of this game? Because it seemed as though we were 2-0 down, and then once the shackles were off, all of a sudden, what a difference that made. Paulinho was flying into challenges, and as if we got nothing to lose. We had Tel, Odebear, Xavi, all became alive, and Mawani, all became alive once we started to attack more, once we started to put the game to Aston Villa and ask them different questions, play a few short passes in through the centre of the pitch, by the way, not just all out wide, actually ask them different questions. All of a sudden, we were playing some really nice football, really good interchanges. Xavi was running the game all of a sudden, had some really nice shots, he had some really nice dribbles, they struggled to contain him, Tel was lively in the game as well, and does that not show Frank that this team is capable of so much more than what he's offering up in terms of going forward? Because it seems as though he's in this mode in his head where we have to play the way we are because we have no Maddison, we have no Decker, we got all these injuries, right? Which I understand and I have some sympathy with. But we saw today, play through Xavi, start getting Tel on the ball and start getting them closer to each other, start getting little triangles, start getting little interchanges within the penalty area, stop going long all the time and fighting for second balls, and they are capable of opening teams up and creating chances. And is that not a lesson he should learn from today?
Yeah, look, 100%. I don't see how he couldn't see what we were all seeing. Do you know what I mean? We saw that in that second half, but are these players capable of doing it for more than 10, 15 minutes? I don't know. Is it best to say you're 2-0 down when you walk out on that pitch? I don't know. I don't know the answers anymore.
We should start the game as if we're 2-0 down every game.
Yeah.
That's what we should do, because it seems as though the shackles are off when we're 2-0 down. And it seems as though we just went for it. We just had a go. We just chucked players forward.
Nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. And what a change it made. It showed what we're capable of. It showed that even against a good team like Villa, this team can create chances. It can look good going forward at times. The press was full pelt in that second half of periods, and we were looking so dangerous. We were looking really likely that we were going to score. Xavi forced some saves out of the keeper. We just had some really good moments, and it was frustrating we couldn't come out in the same intensity like that in the first half as we did in the second half. Now, to caveat that, I would say that it didn't last. It lasted 15, 20 minutes. Then Villa made some subs. They brought Watkins on. They brought Sancho on, and they struggled. We struggled then to reassert ourselves in the game. I thought we brought on Scarlett, and it didn't affect the game positively.
No.
I think he was anonymous. I think we really struggled with that. So I think the subs from Frank, as much as he is hamstrung with injuries, obviously the subs that they brought on affected the game positively, and the ones that we didn't. And that was a shame. I want to have a big shout out to Paulinho in that second half. I thought it was a bit of a Roy of the Rovers kind of performance.
Yeah.
He really kind of stepped up and it was a massive kind of in that second half. He just kind of tried his best to drag us back into the game like solely. I think Gray was kind of while Gray was drowning a bit, he kind of rose in that occasion and he really battled away and it was really unlucky. I felt.
Yeah, look, and unfortunately, like we say, it doesn't get any easier. West Ham at home, Dortmund at home.
I mean, you say it doesn't get any easier and it's West Ham at home.
Well, yeah, but
it should be easier, shouldn't it?
It should be easier, but apart from West Ham and Burnley, look at those games to come. February is horrible. Man City, Man United, Newcastle, Arsenal. If is Frank going to do just enough to save himself to get to February? I don't know. I think if we don't show any fight, we've turned up in London derbies this season, or actually we haven't turned up in London derbies this season, and if we then go put in a stinky performance like we did against Bournemouth, against West Ham, I think that could be it, because the fans won't put up with it. Not against West Ham.
But what is it about us when we don't really start playing until we're trailing? It seems. Well, I guess against Sunderland and against Bournemouth we started the game well. Today we didn't start the game well at all, and then once we're 2-0 down, it was like the shackles off and we just went for it. But when we see how we played in that second half, why can we not play like that more often? Why is it frustrating? Why do we wait till the game is nearly away from us to really go at teams? Why was the mentality of this team in that first half so reserved and so risk averse and just long balls and try and not give Aston Villa any encouragement? And in that second half it was like let's just go for it, let's just throw players forward, and we just ruffled a few feathers. And I think that second half will be encouraging for a lot of fans. And I think a few points that second half will be like, okay, that's what we're capable of. But at the end of the day, it's another defeat. It was too little too late, as you say. We end up losing the game. I also thought the last 10 minutes where we should be throwing the kitchen sink at them. I thought Villa managed the game really well. And we really struggled to kind of assert ourselves in that point of the game. We didn't do anything in the last 10 minutes, really, of that game. And Villa, I thought, just had us under control. We couldn't really do much. There was some good performances. I thought Xavi in that second half was fantastic as well. And in that first half, he had a couple of moments where he showed his quality. But again, it's a lesson that we should be learning. We need to get him involved more. We need to get him on the ball more in good areas. You saw today. I thought for me, when he was on the ball, I thought he showed what he's capable of. He's got quality. Like, for me, people saying he's a waste of money, he can't do it in this league. Look what he was capable of when you get him in the right areas. I thought they couldn't handle him at point times today in that second half. Xavi.
Yeah, I mean, he was fantastic, but we haven't again, like with everything else, we haven't seen enough of that Xavi. We produce a second half response. When no one is doubting that second half, showing. But we've ultimately failed to reach the fourth round of the FA Cup for the first time since 2013-14.
Long time.
And it's another bad day for Frank, another bad day. And Aston Villa have become the first side to eliminate Spurs from the FA Cup in back-to-back seasons since 2007-8, when Manchester United did it 2 seasons in a row. So these are all things that are all piling up, It was a good FA Cup tie. For the neutral, it probably was brilliant to watch. But again, we've just left something, we've left us out too much to do.
I feel like Frank should be looking at this performance, and I think we should all be looking at it and thinking, these players showed when the shackles were off and they were allowed the freedom to just pile forward and attack the opposition. They can hurt them. They've got the quality to hurt the opposition. They've got so much more to offer than we've been seeing. I thought Tao again was bright off the left-hand side. Odegaard scored a nice goal. Rouhani, when given the opportunity, had a nice goal which was just offside, and obviously got an assist, a really nice assist for Odegaard. So for me, I think Frank has to be looked, because I reckon that second half performance will probably be enough just to keep him in a job. I don't think they're going to sack him off the back of that. I'm not saying whether he deserves it or not, but I'm saying they're not going to sack him when we've looked all right in that second half, and maybe, I don't know, whatever you want to say, there's their signs of turning around. I wouldn't say so, but you know, that we showed something in that second half, right? We didn't just go down with a whimper. So I don't think they're going to sack him, but surely Frank has to be looking at thinking, this is what these attacking players can offer. Like, they can be dangerous. And we've looked so far off that in so many games this season. And why is that? Why have we not been able to get our attacking players to be looking as dangerous as they have in periods that we do today? And has he got the shackles off way too much? Is he asking them to do too much going the other way? Is he focusing on the opposition way too much? Because I think in the first half, that's exactly what he was doing. Focusing all on Aston Villa and how we can stop them, and it didn't work. We were carved open. And the second half was like, we weren't going to be bothering with that. We're just going to go forward. We're not going to bother with how we stop Villa. We're going to try and get back in this game, and we nearly did, and we were much better in that second half. So I really hope he learns those lessons. I really hope we start seeing Tottenham much more on the front foot, and we start seeing us getting the best out of these attacking players, because I think they've got so much more to give. And I think people saying, you know, I'm not saying they're the best attackers in the world, but people saying they're terrible and, you know, we can't attack because we've got all these injuries, blah, blah, blah. Look.
We saw tonight we can do it, but we're not doing it consistently, and we're not doing it as much as we should be doing it.
Some also negatives. Richarlison went off injured in the first half, so our injury crisis deepens even further, which is obviously really, really bad.
Well, it's bad for not having a player, but is it bad that it's Richarlison?
I guess if it was anyone, you could argue. But he's our top goal scorer, so at least on the positive side, Dom Solanke came on and he's now back in the team, and he's now an available option. I thought he looked rusty, but also there were times where he nearly made the difference.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he had a bit of a chance, but it just wasn't enough. He needs more time. He needs more time. Whether that's starting against West Ham, I don't know. We got a week now between now and West Ham, so it's enough time to maybe get him right to start, and then, you know, we need to start looking at. Well, I don't know who else needs to come back. The list is long.
Oh, it's about 10 players now, 10, 11 players. Obviously, Doggy was on the bench as well, which is really encouraging. So there are some positives. The fact that Xavi played so well, and that was one of his better games again in a Tottenham shirt. The fact that I think the other two guys, Taylor and Odegaard, had decent games. Paulinia's performance was brilliant. So there were some positives. But I think he's right. Tundo Solanke 863 says Villa were in control of 85% that game. I mean, it's hard to disagree with that.
Yeah.
We had a 15-minute spell in the second half where we got the goal, and we could have easily got the equaliser, but we missed those chances. Yeah, we didn't quite get we didn't ride the wave of momentum. And then once Villa made those subs, and then once we made some subs, we just lost control of it again. We didn't really create anything late on.
No, we didn't. And it was just, like you say, in the times when it got tough, or the times when we need to step up and be professional, Villa just kept slamming that door shut, and that was the problem. They slammed it shut. There was some giant killings today, but there wasn't a giant killing from us at White Hart Lane
today, and not unfortunately. So look, we're out the FA Cup. What does that mean for Frank for you? Is he safe? Is he? Will they respond to this result with a big decision, or do you think they're going to stick with it?
I think like you said, after that second half performance, it probably
saves him a bit.
Kicks the can, like we always do. We're kicking the can down the road, but I think it keeps him until West Ham. But by God, if we don't win that game, then there's going to be serious repercussions, I think.
For me, I think he will be safe. Again, as I said, I would make the change if we can. If it's possible to get someone else in, I would do it, because I think today's even more evidence that we need a change. Even though it was a better second half, I think it shows we need to have a more front-thinking manager, a more forward-thinking manager, progressive manager to be in charge of this set of players. I think you can get better performances out of them. So for me, I would still make the change, but I don't think they will. I think they will keep with him. I think they're going to stick with him. And, yeah, I think it's going to be more Thomas Frank, to be honest. I think if it was a heavy defeat and a real bad performance, they might have made the change. But I think, I think they'll stick with it. I think they've just got enough of a reason, I guess, from their point of view, if they haven't made the change.
And they'll look silly as well, and it'll fall on them. The money that is spent on Frank and his team and everything else. It's I'll be very surprised if they make as knee jerky as that. But like I said, that West Ham game is pivotal now.
All right, well, that is your instant match reaction. Now is your chance to have your say on today's game. So link is in the comment section below. I'm just going to run quickly.
You're going to run? You're going to run?
Do you want to read that super chat? I'm just going to do.
I'll read the
super chat. I'll be back in 1 second.
The one from Fossey. Just putting it out there, if you make subs in the last 15, make all of them at once. Stick to a plan, adjustment. Don't stop the game when we have momentum. They're slowing the game down. Yep, Fossey, I completely agree with you. He made the subs. I don't think he made the. The subs at the right time. And also the right players. So Spence coming off for Porro. I think the decision from Porro at that point was probably because he was on a yellow card. I don't really know what to say at that point. Stop breathing so loud. Please control the loud breathing on the mics. Okay. That someone set up an actual account and then put in a super chat. So thank you very much for that.
It's not personal, everyone.
No, it says it for everyone, doesn't it? Look, I think other than that, dreadful, other than like minutes 50 to 57. Again, it's 10-minute spells, 15-minute spells, but look, I guess we'll find out what you guys think, because ultimately, I'm sure we're going to hear about people coming on.
Yeah, I'd like to hear your opinions. Was today better? Was today an improvement? What did the second half?
Or worse?
What conclusions do you take from that second half? Does Frank need to go based on how we played in the first half? Does the second half show what we're capable of? Was it the players again that let him down, or is it the setup that's holding us back? For me, based on that second half, I think it's the setup, to be honest. I think that's more evidence that Frank is holding us back. But maybe people think, look, he went more attacking and we still can get the job done, and it shows it's more the players than him. Someone tagged me in. This is something else. Thomas Frank quote from September saying, I would like us to compete in all 4 tournaments across the year. If you're going to do that, you need to pick the right team all the time. Well, we're out there, FA Cup and the Carabao in the 3rd round as well. So, not great situation there. Apparently, Morgan Rogers has completed more through balls this season. 3 more through balls than Tottenham's entire team.
That's not surprising.
God. All right. Shall we start getting people on? We'll give you all updates.
From the Chelsea game.
From the Chelsea game as well, and also updates on anything Frank has to say post game. Is Daniel ready? I can see the Northern Lights, but I don't see him.
That's a good view.
It's a very good view. Let's see if anyone else is ready.
There we go. Is that Daniel?
No, this is... let's get Ezekiel. He's ready to come on.
He's ready. Ready and steady.
Oh, Daniel's first. We'll get Daniel first.
I'll get Daniel first. I'll get Daniel first. It's all right.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, bro. We can hear you. Thanks for coming on, man.
With the Northern Lights.
Yeah, it's nice. You got a nice background. It's nice to look at while you're not there. You're also nice to look at, don't worry.
Thanks. Flirting with me.
Yeah, I was going to say, Sim's on the flirt tonight.
Tell me, what do you say about today?
It was you know what it is? I'll be honest, it was actually a better game. And the second half was a completely different half. They dominated us in the first half. absolutely dominated us because they lost Kamara and they seem to even control the game better, which just shows how like well coached and well refined that team is. To lose one of their key players, probably even one of their, I guess aside from Rodgers, probably one of their best players, and for them to even start playing better that's very. Sorry, I've lost my voice a bit. I was
Oh,
screaming
you
and shouting.
shouting at the
Yeah,
TV.
exactly. I was screaming and shouting, but yeah, they lost one of their key players, and for them to even control the game, dictate the game, especially that first half, was very impressive. Second half, different half, completely different half. We seem to be getting a lot of it. We were losing our heads as well, though, to be honest. Defensively, Paulinia, I know people like to say they like the passion and stuff, but you shouldn't let that passion lead to wrong decisions. You don't want that passion to lead to like rashness and because if he got sent off in a different game, those same tackles that he done, those same fouls that he done in a different game, he would have gotten sent off. That could have been a yellow card for Kamara and then a red card, a second yellow for that Rodgers one as well. But it was good. It was still a decent display. One thing that worries me though is that every team that we play that's got a 10 always seems to cause damage to us. You got Eze scoring a hat trick against us. You got you know,
Rogers
you got
Bendia today.
Rodgers. Exactly. You got Buendia today. Even the first fixture that we played them last year, you got Rodgers, scoring from that edge of the box area, and even Buendia scoring the second goal from that edge of the box area. It seems that every team that's got a 10 against us seems to be doing damage. And it doesn't seem to be because of the quality of that number 10. It just seems to be like any team that's got a 10, and it's a pattern that it's like, why hasn't he picked up on that? Why hasn't, not just Frank, but even the coaching staff, why haven't they picked up on that? What I'm saying? It just seems to be, where's the awareness there? You know what I mean? Because it's just weird. Gray as well. I remember I was watching the stream with you, Ben, and what's his name? Is it Brian?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys were talking about, Frank, that who is he improved? And I remember Brian kept on going on about Van de Ven, but the scary thing is that that's 1 out of 21 players. Who's actually improved under Frank? It seems like all the players have like regressed under him, which is kind of scary. And even the games that we do play well, it doesn't seem to be. It seems to be more, which is, I guess, it's a good on his part, but it seems to be more of his tactics than from more of the players, and it's a bit worrying because you would want the players to get better as well as the tactics to get better. You want the tactics to improve the players, and that doesn't even seem to be happening. You see,
Oh, what's that noise? Can you mute yourself and whoever's in the background? All right, go on, Daniel.
and that's quite scary, because you look at last season, you look at the team, you look at, under Ange. Remember when Van de Ven, Edogi, and Vicario came? Those guys came as absolute nobodies, and all it took was one season for all three of those guys to be world class, or at least close to that order of what world class was. I guess Van de Ven was definitely, it took a season, and then everybody kind of admitted that Van de Ven was one of the best defenders on that left-handed, not one of the best, maybe not one of the best centre back, but at least one of the best defenders on that left-handed side of the defense. One of the best left-footed centre backs for sure in the world. There's not many better than him in the world. Even today, to be honest, I would even go ahead and say that. You got Adogi as well be nominated for Team of the Season in that left back position, Vicario as well. And it seems like, obviously Adogi's out of injury, but even with like players like Vicario and even Van der Ven, it seems like everybody's getting worse under him. I'm looking at Gray as well. Even when he was playing out of position last season, in that centre back and the full back positions, he's playing in midfield now, and he's good. He's good. He's still putting in, better performances than some of the experienced guys there, like Bentancur and Paulinho. But it's like his attributes are it's like it's declining.
When you look at that second half, Daniel, we're 2-0 down. We get back in the game and we give it a good push. Ultimately, it wasn't enough, and But when, that period when we were on top, we had momentum. We were looking to get attacking. Tel, Xavi, Odebert all getting involved in the game. Paulinho was going full pelt. Was that what conclusions you take out of that? Was that more them fighting for Frank to get back in the game? Was that them just abandoning a game plan and flying forward? Like, what do you think happened in that second half?
I don't think it was abandoning game plan. I think that was the game plan in that second half. I think it was the game plan for them to, bomb forward and, attack the spaces in that Villa back line, and also they'll just try. But I think that was the game plan. I can't go out and say it was them, abandoning it.
Why did we not see that in the first half?
But okay, you didn't see it in the first half because I guess tactically we kind of got it wrong. Tactically we got it wrong. That's why we had to resort into different attacking tactics in that second half. I guess it's just them not doing their homework. I think it's easy to say that, but I think, just going off what we're seeing, what else can we say? We can, there's nothing else to say than just say that we got that first half wrong.
No, that's fair, but, in the second half, was that evidence for you that, we could be more of a front-footed team and we can hurt these oppositions? We don't need to be so reserved like we have been.
I think it can, but I don't think our coach, I don't think Frank's going to look at it like that. I think he's going to look at it like we had the first half where we were more reserved, and we had a second half where we weren't. And what happened when we weren't more reserved? What happened when we weren't fully attacking? We only scored one goal. It didn't result into anything. So I think he's going to look at that and be like, kind of like a Conte. He's going to look at that and be like, you know what, fuck all of this. I'm just going to play my defensive tactics. I'm just going to play my own way. I'm just going to put my own tactics, and everybody's just going to have to listen to that. And I don't want anyone thinking now that that's because of a quality. That's because of a quality of players. Because, again, not to take it back to Ange, because obviously he's not here, but you have to remember in his first season, he was playing with Richarlison up front. By December, he had double-digit goals. In the previous season, he scored only 3. You look at Brennan Johnson, who everybody's saying is not good enough to play in the squad, and he contributed attackingly for us to even finish 5th, that first season. So again, I guess the quality, I guess our front line is not quality, but also as well, his coaching, his tactics it's not doing us any favors. It's not doing us any favors in the meantime.
But have we had any time to train any tactics? Because we've had games, then a rest day, then games and a rest day. I don't actually think he's had any time to have any. This is probably going into the game next week. It's going to be the longest that we've probably had to put some of his stamp on there. Really, I don't know. I don't know the answer.
It's been how many months now?
Yeah. When we had a period as well where we had a week free, what was the games at the end of it? It was was it Sunderland? What was the games we had? We literally just had them. We had a week free. I think it was Brentford in between, and it was terrible.
Palace.
We had a week free before that game.
Yeah, but wasn't that when he gave them time off and everything? I don't know, but surely these players,
Palace,
surely these players are better than what we're seeing.
It was Palace and it was Liverpool.
They are better, but also as well, how much better are these players?
I think
better?
In the second half, I think
they're definitely.
Look at Xavi. Look at Xavi in that second half. He was brilliant. Why don't we see more of that?
Again, see, with players like Xavi, I think the expectations that were set on him were too high. But even at that, again, talking about he was one of the best midfielders. He was definitely the best midfielder in Leipzig, one of the best midfielders in that Bundesliga. His star forward for Holland. He was one of the best players in that Euros. And he's come in with an expectation of him dragging us into that top 5 in the league. Was that our expectation? Would that be fair to say that was the expectation of us before the ball was kicked this season?
To challenge top 5, yeah, probably.
Exactly. Yeah, and obviously hindsight speaking now, it's not looking like that.
Mm-hmm.
And with somebody like him, I guess, there's no way you can look at it and not I don't want to point fingers, but there's no way to look at it and not blame the coach and not say, not say like, why are we not bringing the best? Why is our tactics? Why is our coaching not bringing the best out of players like Xavi Simons? Not just the best out of him, but not bringing.
Do you think that first half was tactics, or do you think it was those players?
With tactics, I think the whole game. I think. No,
but we started playing when we were 2-0 down. So do we suddenly go, oh, we're 2-0 down, let's just play with freedom?
I think that's what he done. I think not play, not in the way play with freedom.
Frank says go out there and express yourself because we got nothing to lose.
But it looks, but that's what the tactic looks like. Just because the tactic looks like that doesn't mean we should now say, oh, Frank said go out there and play with freedom. Do you get what I mean? Because
yeah, I understand, but I just think those players are an absolute disgrace.
I wouldn't.
How many times?
But it's not like they're not trying, though. It's not like they're not trying.
Are they trying? Is Van der Ven Van der Ven is a shadow of himself from last season?
Yeah, 100%. But everybody is, though.
Well,
and why is that?
You could argue Richarlison's not because he scored more goals than he did this time last season, and this is Richarlison. I'm not saying that he's amazing because I think he's pony, but
he's got more game time this season, doesn't he, than last season? When he was truly a starter for us, he's not scored more in that first season. And when he was truly starting, he hasn't scored. He hasn't reached those numbers yet. But even at that, everybody's gotten worse. And if everybody's gotten worse, what can you link that to?
Yeah,
it has to be coaching. It has to come down to coaching and tactics.
And it's not like the injuries have changed as well. We've got massive injury problems now. Richarlison injured.
How many injuries did you have last season?
But
that's what I'm saying.
Exactly. But these players,
a lot of people blame that on Ange. Said, "Oh, it's his fault because it's the way he plays." And now we've got the same problem.
But these players, this team, is worse than last season, and we finished 17th last season.
Mm-hmm. So what's your point?
So the point is it? We were expecting the players to finish in fifth, or what Daniel was saying.
No, not finish in fifth, but challenge European spots.
But how can we challenge when we've got a worse team? I've said this before.
No. But the individuals we got are better though. The individuals we got this season.
We got no Maddison, we got no Kulusevski, we got no Son.
But we've got Xavi Simons though. We've got Xavi Simons. Xavi Simons is better than Maddison.
Oh come on.
Xavi Simons, Champions League player. Maddison can't get an England shirt. Xavi Simons is one of the best forwards for Netherlands. He's one of the best forwards from one of the best countries in the world.
And we got Kudus, which we didn't
exactly.
have last year.
And you got Kolomouani.
So those three players are better than Maddison, Kulu, and Son. Is that what you're telling me?
I don't think Kudus.
Simons, Moani, and
I'm not saying.
Wait.
Kudus.
Kudus is not better than Kulusevski.
You're saying those three are better. Come on, guys, what we do?
Kudus is not better than Kulusevski. Simons is absolutely better than Maddison. Maddison's never even touched the stages that Simons has. And Kolomouani is definitely better than Solanke.
Madison's not better than Maddison's.
Hasn't touched the stages.
But you're only saying that. You're only saying that in hindsight talk, though. You're only saying that because Simons has come here and he's not looked like the player that we wanted him to look like. Before ball was kicked last season.
Is that not a responsibility on him though? To come and be that player.
But why? No. But he's come here, and this is the worst he's ever looked in his footballing career. Been arguably not world class, but like close to that line of what makes a world class player before he came to Tottenham. Why is it now in Tottenham we're 13th and he's not even looking like he's good enough to be in a 13th level club?
Okay, but if we've all got jobs, right? And we all do stuff for our jobs, right? If we don't do well. What do we have to wait until someone says you're doing badly before we actually sit there and go, do you know what? I think I should do better at what I'm doing. Do these players have to be told?
Yeah, but what makes? Oh, sorry.
So what I'm saying is there needs to be. Everyone has a bit of self-respect. I don't think these players have any self-respect that they'll sit there and they'll just hang the manager out to dry again and again and again and again. They hang out Poch. They hung out Jose. They hung out Conte.
Who hung out Poch?
The
None
players.
Of these players are here.
But the players
I'm saying all the players. They didn't. So what was the difference between the players that finished that got to the Champions League final that then decided that they weren't going to suddenly start playing? What was the difference between the players that got, Conte, all these players? This is what I mean. We make excuses for manager after manager after manager after manager, and we're letting these players off. When is someone
no,
going to turn
but-
around and say, and I get it, we can't sack 11 players, we can only sack one person. I get that and I understand it. But at what point are we then going to sit there and say the players aren't good enough? Porro, awful. I'm sorry.
Yes, facts.
Awful.
But the
Romero,
problem, but
our
also
captain,
the problem also lies with the club because the expectation that we had for these players it was too high for it to begin with. Maybe not even too high, but they were never capable of reaching that to begin with. You look at someone like now Pedro Porro, Palhinha, the Colomwani that you're mentioning, the even players like Romero and stuff. The reason why these guys are at our club is not because they're good enough for Tottenham. It's because they weren't good enough for teams like Juventus, teams like PSG, teams like Bayern. And then we now get them and tell them to take us to that level of Juventus, PSG, and Bayern. So it's like we're setting them up to fail in the first place.
We have to do
That's
that.
why
Look at Van der Ven. We got him because maybe at the time he wasn't good enough for those clubs, and it was good scouting. You know what I mean? That's what you got to do.
Exactly. No, but I said we should be going. But when I came here first time, I was saying instead of Romero's literally been criticizing the club. He's attacked the board, and we decided to marry him with the captain's armband. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with us for doing that. And again, he's even criticizing the board again when it's a completely new, different board. Levi's gone and Patrici's literally going to Fiorentina. But even at that, I've always said we should be going for signers like Van der Ven, signers like Udogie. No, let me not say nobody's, but nobody's compared to players like Romero, like Bentancur, like Pedro Porro, like the Emerson Royale, just because he's coming from Barcelona, like Mateus Tel.
What?
Emerson
Royale. Whoa. No. Emerson Royale, the double winner, the player that won the league and cup with his team. And you're coming at me with this argument.
Emerson.
Unbelievable.
But why did we get? No. Wait. I'm saying the only reason why we got players like Emerson Royale. I'm just talking like that profile. Players like Emerson Royale, players like Mateus Tel. We only got them because they come from well-established clubs. They come from clubs that are on the level that we're trying to get to. But then we now say that they should play. We now say that they should play for us and take us to that level when they're not good enough.
No one's sitting there saying that Xavi Simons we're expecting Xavi Simons to be Cole Palmer or a Morgan Rogers.
Well, You just said he should. I just asked you guys now. What was the expectation for this season? Take up into top 5.
I didn't say that. I didn't say top 5.
What was your expectation?
Go on.
What after last season?
Beginning of the season.
What's the expectation for this season?
For this season? Yeah, for this season, based on what we did last season.
No, just when the transfers
happened. What were you saying last week? We got a whole new different board, new manager,
mid-table.
Huh?
Mid-table.
Get out, man.
Yeah.
And you'd be happy with that.
With the players that finished 17th last season.
No, with the new signings and the new
manager.
New
signings, we're worse, Sim.
What do you mean, what new signings? We signed Palhinha, Kudus.
Kudus injured. We signed Palhinha, yes.
He's injured now.
Is Kudus better than Brennan Johnson? Because that was who was starting for us last season.
Is that our levels? Is that what we're comparing about?
Yeah,
actually, Kudus is not better
than literally is, because we sold him.
Hang on. Based on output, compared to what he's done in the Tottenham shirt, unfortunately, Brennan Johnson is better than Kudus. Based on what he's done in the Tottenham shirt.
Why?
Kudus has been here for 6 months. Brennan Johnson's been here for a whole season.
Okay, I understand, but you're talking about what they've done. What has Kudus... Yeah. When you strip it back, what has Kudus done?
That's like saying Johnson's better than Kane, because Johnson scored a goal in the final.
Oh my God, Sim.
Because Johnson's won a trophy.
Johnson's
won a trophy, so he's better than Kane.
What are you trying to say? Why is he better?
You're saying the expectation was Champions League.
Is Solanke better than Colomwani?
They're both shit.
Oh, that's not a question though. Because
is he better than Colomwani? Well, he's been injured, hasn't he? So how can we say Kolo Muani scored no goals in the Premier League?
Just from what you know as football. From football,
is
Solanke better than?
I would say, well, yes.
No, you wouldn't. No, you would not. No, yes. You would not.
Yes.
He's reached double digits twice in his career, man. There's never... You cannot say Solanke better than
here and now. Based on the here and now.
Yeah, based on here and now.
What did Muani do when he came on today? What did he do? He got an offside goal. No?
But all of this is hindsight talk, though. All of this is hindsight talk, because before they came to Tottenham, they were better than the players that were at Tottenham.
Kolo Muani 2 years ago was better than Solanke. They're not. They're
Kolomwani
both
last
crap.
year was better than Solanke. Kolomwani last year was
Come
better
on.
He
than
was good at
Solanke.
Juve. He was good at Juve.
Come on.
Solanke got 9 goals.
But this is the
What are
problem,
you
Daniel. This
doing?
is the problem. We're sitting there talking about shit football players. No.
But we're only shit. We're only saying they're shit because we expected them to do stuff that they were never capable of, though.
No.
That's really it.
No.
It's not that these guys are shit.
No,
players.
I expect Xavi to be performing like he did in that second half, game in, game out. If we get half of him like that all season, but we haven't. Why?
Okay, then what was the difference? Why didn't he perform like that in the first half then?
What? Because Frank
What
was
was the
telling him to
difference?
defend.
Thank you. So it's the coaching then. It's not the
Really?
players. So
Oh,
it's the
come on.
coaching.
Come on.
That's what you just said. Because
Come on.
Frank said.
That's what you just said.
You just said that's what Frank said. That's what you just
No,
said.
I'm saying.
I didn't say that.
Is that what Frank said? I'm asking. It was a question. It wasn't.
Oh,
is
right. That
what-
wasn't a statement. It was a
I
question.
didn't
Yeah,
say
it was a
that. I
question.
didn't tell him to do it. I didn't tell him to
So
turn
you're
up in
saying
the second
you
half.
were
I
saying
was at
Frank
home.
was coaching Xavi to play like that in the first half, and then told him to play something like different in the second half.
No,
is that
What
No,
else
not
could it
Xavi,
be?
the
What
team.
else could it be then? Exactly, it's the
Come
whole
on,
team.
what are
But
we
what else
doing?
could it be if it's not Frank? What else could it be?
What
else could it be?
I don't understand.
Why? Why aren't you
I
understanding?
don't
What's the
understand.
issue
Sim.
though? I don't understand. You're answering your own questions though.
I'm not answering any questions. I'm
Yeah,
asking
you
a
are. Because
question.
what else could the difference be if it's not Frank telling them different things in the first half before the
These are
before the game
grown
started,
men.
and
These are not
after?
children being told what to do like they're at
They are.
school.
It's a coach.
Yes,
What's
they
the
are.
coach
It's
do?
So
called
they sit there and go,
coaching.
yes,
What?
sir, no, sir, this is what happens.
Mostly.
Come on,
It's called
man.
coaching. It's called
Come on.
tactics. It's called
Come on.
coaching.
Come on.
It's a team sport. They
What do
all have
managers
roles
do?
to fulfill.
You think Pep just says go out and play and doesn't give them
Exactly.
coaching?
You think they just throw the ball in the pitch and tell them to kick?
No, but I don't expect
You
them to
can
just
do
sit
that.
there and go,
You can do
right,
that,
this is
though.
what we're going to do in the first half, and then this is what we're going to do in the second
Of course
half.
they do. What do you mean?
Of course they do.
Why wouldn't they?
Wait, so you think it's the same thing that they're going to be doing in the first half and the second half at every single situation in football?
No, I
That's
just don't. I
ridiculous,
just
man.
no.
Gives
What I'm
the
saying
That's
is, and
ridiculous.
what you two are literally like coming for is, I'm literally stripping it down to. They went out. They go out with a plan. I get it. There's a plan. There's a plan for the game. But there's
But
not
the
a plan
plans
where
change.
they say,
The
right,
plans change.
you need to do this now. Right, Xavi, you need
but
to start
that is-
running and controlling the game. Does he need?
Obviously,
Does he need to tell him
I
that?
don't think he says you're going to play bad.
That's
in the
what I'm
first half
talking
and you're gonna
about.
Play well in the second half.
Can you go out and
But if
start
the instructions
driving
have
runs and doing
facilitate
these
him
things?
To play good and bad.
No, man.
Of course
This
it
is
does.
nonsense. This is not. I
course it
can't. I
does.
can't be
100%
part of
it
this.
does.
This is
100%
delusion.
it does.
This is delusion, Sim.
Why
from
is
you.
what's deluded? What's deluded?
Why is it
Where's
delusional?
Daddy
It's
Killian?
just
So
So
coaching.
wait, so you
It's
tell
just
me why?
coaching.
Wait, Barry. In your summation, why do you think he played well in the first half and not the second half?
Exactly. What else
Why
could
do
it
you
be
think?
if it's
Why
not?
do
What
you
else
think?
could it be?
What do you mean? What?
Why did
Because his
Xavi-
players aren't good enough, and they're letting this team
But why
and
was
his
he good enough?
managers
But you
down.
said they were
Why
good
was he
enough in the second half.
and
You
not
said
the
they were
first
good
half?
enough in the second half. So what happened?
Because I don't know. I don't have the answers. I'm not a coach.
But it's not to do with the coach.
I don't believe for 1 second they're all to. There's blame across all of them, right? But I don't believe for
No,
1
the thing is-
second
the thing
that
is-
these players just went out second half and thought, "Sod it, we're going to go and play differently."
But tell Xavi, Odegaard, and Paulinho all like new players in that second half. If it's more than one,
Why is that?
Why is
Exactly.
that? If
Why?
it's-
It's
if
the
it's
whole
more-
team. It's practically the whole team.
So we're then going to criticise Frank for the first half, but then not praise him for saying that in the second
I
half.
did not praise him. He's
No,
great.
but you
He-
can
he-
do that though. You
You
can
do that.
It's a game of. That's why there's two halves though.
This is crazy.
That's why there's two halves.
Daniel, we're going to move on because you've been on for a while, but appreciate you calling on, bro.
It's
nice to see you.
This is crazy.
Nice to see you guys, man.
I appreciate it. Come on, you Spurs.
This is
Appreciate getting
crazy.
Genji on. I don't know what your problem, what your contention is. Do you think the coach has no effect?
I didn't say it had no effect, but to
What
sit
is
there
that,
and it's just like making excuses for these Dominic Solanke or Kola Mwani, who's better. I mean, where are we going here?
All right, let's get
I don't know where we're going here.
let's get Ezekiel on. Ezekiel, thanks for calling, my
How
friend.
you guys doing?
Yeah, we're doing all right. Look, it's disappointing
I'll
today.
be all right as long as you don't mention Emerson Royale.
Okay. As soon as Emerson was
Unless it's in a
brought up-
good way.
As soon as Emerson was brought up,
That was
kicked
it.
off. Brian got Barry got all angry. Look, today Ezekiel, how do you sum up the game? You know, out of the FA Cup in the third round for the first time since 2014. Positives today in that second half, or overall, again, more questions than answers?
I mean, yeah, definitely positives in the second half. Definitely the cliche like game of two halves. But I think this kind of sealed my thoughts on Frank.
Which
He's
are what?
just out. He needs to leave. He's gone. He needs to leave because, and I'll tell you why. That he obviously gave instructions in that first half to play a certain style that limited the players, and then him, like, he's not an idiot. He understands the context of the situation he's in. He obviously went into the second half and just told them to like play free and just do whatever and just, go all out, get everyone forward, play however you want to play.
Just let the shackles off.
Exactly, yeah. And so it just shows he doesn't know what he's doing, kind of. Because I feel like every game we've kind of seen that first half, and he hasn't been able to figure out any team, no matter what. And finally, I think this was, I was on the fence with Frank because I couldn't decide if it was the players or the manager or a bit of both. But when you see them have the shackles get taken off, and you see that beautiful performance in the second half where it actually, like, it's the first time I've had enjoyment watching the team in a very long time, right? So that just to me signals that he's a terrible coach and he doesn't know what he's doing. So
for you, that second half was, do you not think that was down to Frank? Do you think it was more down to just having his tactical instructions, ripped back a bit, and he was just kind of going, look, we're 2-0 down, let's just go for it? Or do you think in that second half, some people say maybe they were fighting for him to save his job?
If you were fighting for the manager, you wouldn't have walked off the pitch against Chelsea. You know what I mean? You wouldn't have acted a certain way some of these players have been acting if you were fighting for the manager. They were fighting for the season. That's what they were fighting for. They understand the moment of this game. Like, it's not for the manager. And I do think, I think there were a couple tweaks he made. They definitely were trying to pass the ball into more central areas and more crowded areas in the second half. I don't know if Frank told them to do that or not, but to me, it just looked like a bunch of talented players playing free and just trying to create chances and trying to do something. I don't really think it had anything. I don't really think there was much instruction behind it. I mean, I'm not really a tactician. Someone who's more knowledgeable than me, definitely. Maybe there was something, and I'm talking nonsense right now. But
no, there's someone in the background again. Need to mute themselves. But for you, when you see Tel, Xavi, Odegaard, Moani, Paulinho play like they did in that second half, does that give you belief that if we were to play a more front-thinking way, forward-thinking way, that we do have players who can hurt the opposition? We don't have to be so reserved like we usually see.
Yeah, I mean, Ange gave me that belief in these players already. We saw it. It's like, yes, we have different players, but it's the structure from last season is still there for the most part. Like, you can tell that, like, the players are talented. We're not signing terrible players. Like, the players are talented. You don't, like Kolo Muani, for example, you don't go to Juventus and play how you play at Juventus if you're a terrible footballer. That doesn't make any sense. Matthias Sell, he came from Bayern Munich. Like, he was a wonder kid at Bayern Munich. Like, you don't just luck your way into that position. You know what I mean? They're obviously talented footballers. Like, I think that it just sealed my thoughts on Frank, in that he just makes obvious decisions to limit the talent of these players. And I think the main one that indicates it to me was Xavi, where the difference between that second half, the first and second half, he felt like he could go and dribble the ball forever and do whatever he wanted. And whereas in the first half, it was a lot of just like, I'm going to come collect the ball off Gray, pass it right back to him, try and, just like slow, calm, composed, which just, it's not working.
So do you think this will cost Frank his job? There's a lot of people saying maybe that second half might have saved him, the fact that we looked a bit better. What do you think?
I don't know. That gets into a whole different discussion with how much of a mess the actual hierarchy of this club is, which is something we could talk about if we want to. But that's a whole different, I think they probably won't fire him because he's their guy, and they're probably going to wait until the end of the season. And I don't know if that's the wrong or right decision, but it does. I feel like whatever decision they make is going to be wrong no matter what, because they always seem to make the worst decision possible, and that's a whole different can of worms. It's just it's just a there's a terrible feeling for I think everyone right now around the club. It's just everything is bad and it's terrible.
So how do you think we move forward from it? Is it about saving our season by signing players in January? Do we have to make a change if we're going to do anything this season? Like what do we do?
I think signing players is definitely an avenue you can go down, and I think the new ownership kind of has to back their own words. But I don't know if the season is savable, right? I don't know if we're going to be able to convince the players of the quality that we need to actually come to the club, right? And so is there maybe credence in the idea of firing Frank, hiring a stopgap manager for now, making sure you don't get relegated? And we obviously have this team of incredible young talent, and we just let them play and see what they can do, figure something out, and retool in the summer window to see what we can do next season. Because I don't think no matter what, if we go for it, I don't think we're going to qualify for Europe anyway. So you might as well just, we have half a season to develop some of these players that we think could really be something, but maybe when we're fighting at the top right now aren't at that level, and just see what we can do. But I don't know where to go, right? Like,
yes, it's a tough one. It's kind of like, in a weird way, we've kind of laid our bed with Frank, I feel, and it's because the manager market's not fantastic. We kind of have to stick through it unless we decide to go interim. But interim, I always feel interim is never a good idea. Usually you're better off sticking with what you got than going with an interim, unless it's like your fear of relegation or things are like just so toxic and terrible, like maybe the final days of Conte. But I think, I don't know. I don't know what the best course of action is. I never wanted Ange to be sacked at the end of last season. The funny thing is, if Ange was in the same situation now as Frank is, it's an easy decision because where you stand with Ange. But right now, it's like, do we give him a project? All this kind of stuff. It's been 6 months. We haven't seen any improvement. It's hard to know what direction to go in because it's kind of two bad decisions you've got ahead of you if you don't have a really good alternative. Is anyone in mind who's available now, manager-wise, who you would like?
I don't know. But I don't think interim's really the worst idea, just because it could take off some of the pressure on the club right now. And just
Ryan
Mason's available. Yeah, he just got
signed by West Brom. Third time's the charm.
Exactly.
But I think it could maybe just take some of the pressure off the club, pressure off the players, and just like I said, we have such a high amount of young players that need minutes and need to play and need to develop that we could just didn't go how we wanted with Frank, reassess in half a season's time and see what we can do.
Ezekiel, appreciate you calling, mate. Nice to see you, and see you soon.
Yeah, have a good rest of the stream, guys.
Cheers. Mate. Cheers. All right, any quotes yet from Frank? Haven't seen any. Haven't seen him say anything. So let's get on Mr. Stelios, all the way from Cyprus. Is he still in Cyprus? All the way from Cyprus. How are we doing, Stel? Out the FA Cup today. Another notch off the season. But some are saying better second half, gave it a good go, got a goal back, nearly got back in the game. Some people even suggesting the second half improvement has saved Frank his job after, we were looking down and out in that first half. What was your take on it?
First of all, Barry and Sim, good afternoon, good evening. I don't even know what time it is over there.
It's evening, yeah.
Everyone in the chat, good afternoon as well, good evening. Do you know what? Today's the day that I'm broken with the manager, the players, the fans, everything, media, owners, the whole thing. I am sick to death of the same shit every single year and the same excuses, the same bullshit that I'm having to hear again and again and again. Oh, what a great second half. Rubbish. Absolute crap. Villa, Liverpool, Fulham, Newcastle United, Bodo Glimt, Brighton. Every time we go 2-0 down, Frank's tactics go out the window. Frank's strategy goes out the window. There's nothing to lose. When there's nothing to lose, we just do whatever we want. And we attack, and we look a lot better. It's got nothing to do with tactics, nothing to do with strategy. It's because there's nothing to lose. It's happened 6 times this season. We're 2-0 down. We're looking absolute dog shit. That's when you see Tottenham start playing, because the players say, sod this is bullshit. They do what they want and they just attack. That's what happens. It's happened so many times. So people saying, oh yeah, but Frank, he saved himself with that second half. Frank did nothing. It's the players, man. There's nothing to lose, guys. There's no caution to the wind. There's no pragmatism. There's no play it safe. There's no, let's not put too many bodies forward in case they attack us and we don't have enough players to defend. That all goes out the window, man. How many times have you seen that happen this season?
Yeah, well, quite a few. But what conclusions do you take from the fact that you saw Tel, Xavi, Odegaard look so much better in that second half when we were flying forward? Should Frank not look at that and think, let's play like that more often? But he never does.
Frank's the wrong manager for Spurs. I've been saying it for weeks. He's the wrong guy for this football club. He's negative. He's a negative manager. His interviews are negative. The way he talks about things is negative. His tactics are negative. Our fans are negative too, with this whole bullshit. Oh, all the players are crap. They're all shit. It's got nothing to do with Frank. All the players are rubbish. When the players want to attack, we're not a bad team. We're not a top side. We're not a Champions League top 4 team. But you know what? We can do more than what we're seeing. 14th is because of Frank. It's all because of Frank. We should be at least 7th or 8th if we had a more attacking manager. If we had someone that was more confident in taking risk and trusting the players we've got to give it a go, we'd be higher up the table. We wouldn't be top 4 because you need quality to get to that level. We lack that quality. But these players are good enough to be higher up the table and to put in better performances. How many of us fans have been saying this on a weekly basis? Mm-hmm. It's the manager. He sets them out with this negative approach. And look at us again. We're having a fight after the game. Where's that fight in the first half? Where's that fight in the first half? And another thing that's pissing me off, this fan base is really beginning to bother me. Do you know the people that scapegoated Romero, the people that wanted to put the blame on Romero for calling out the board and having a go at Enoch? Damn bloody right, Romero had the balls to come out and publicly slam them, publicly shame them, because now everyone's talking about it. Good. Bring that negativity on the board. And people want to go after Romero. Was Romero on the pitch tonight, guys, when we went 2-0 down? Was Romero on the pitch tonight when there's a fight after the game? No. So who are they going to blame tonight? Where's all the scapegoat merchants tonight to slam Romero? Is he perfect? No. Does he have crazy, irrational moments? Yes. But is he a winner? Damn right he's a winner. Does he care about this club? Yes, he does. He cares about winning at Tottenham. Otherwise, he would have left ages ago. But he's still here. It means something to him. And people scapegoat him because he makes the odd mistake and because they're too scared to go to a protest. They're too scared to blame Enoch and Levy. They're too scared to call out the real problem. They hired Frank, not Romero. Frank tells Romero and the rest of the players to be defensive and not attack. But yet we've got fans going after Romero. Romero wasn't in the game today. Romero wasn't part of the defence that conceded 2 goals tonight. Romero wasn't kicking off and fighting after the game tonight. I'm honestly, Sim, I'm sick of it, man. I'm sick of this manager's tactics. I'm sick of fans scapegoating Romero. It's all broken. The whole thing is broken.
We were told we hired Frank so we could compete on 4 fronts, and now out the FA Cup, we were out the Carabao Cup also very early. We're now 14th in the Premier League, and the best we're performing is in the Champions League. I guess maybe should we chuck the league and just go for the Champions League? Is that where we're at? Focus on the Champions League.
Sack Frank. bring back Ange, win the Champions League, and season 3 is better than season 2.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I can't believe Stel's just said that.
I would bring back
joking.
Ange.
I'm
I would bring
joking.
back Ange.
I know you'd
I'm
bring back
joking.
Ange.
I would.
Jesus Christ!
Get him on the phone. Let's have
my
some
God.
fun. Let's have some
I
fun.
think you're right. I think everything is broken. Everything everything. The players, the board, the fans. I just don't know where. I don't know where we go from here.
Still, we picked up another injury today with Richarlison. I think that makes it 11 first-team players injured at the moment. I know we got Dom and Doggy back, but last season we had another similar injury crisis, and there was a lot of reasons why people said that happened. What do you think? Why is this a constant thing? Every season we're in the midst of an injury crisis. Well, why is it constantly happening at this club? Every year it seems there's a point that there's 10, 11 players out injured, and it's happening again.
It's Ange's fault. It's Ange's fault, clearly. Ange Postecoglou's to blame for all the injuries. Ange Postecoglou's to blame the fact that Nottingham Forest can't win a game under Sean Dyche. That's Ange's fault as well. Mm-hmm. Just blame Ange for absolutely everything, Sim. That's the answer to every single problem at this club. It's all Ange's fault. Mate, these injuries are happening because the manager... with Ange, some of the injuries weren't his fault. Some was because he overplayed certain players, okay? With Frank, some of the injuries aren't his fault, but other injuries are because he's overplaying certain players. And the reason Frank's overplaying certain players is because this coach and all those really intelligent fans that said, we just need a coach. That's all we need. A better coach gets more out of this squad. Well, then why isn't Frank coaching the players that he doesn't trust? Why doesn't he coach Dane Scarlett? Why doesn't he coach Odebert and Tell? Why doesn't he coach Lucas Barnett Williams? Why doesn't he coach him? Why doesn't he coach our players so that he can rotate them and trust them a bit more? Why doesn't he do that? I thought he's a coach. That's why we're getting injuries, because it's the same players playing all the time, and he's rushing players back. The reason Berg was injured is because he got rushed back from an injury. That's why Berg was injured. But if that was Ange Postecoglou, all hell would break loose. Oh, Ange is killing this squad. Oh, Ange is destroying everyone. Frank's doing the same thing. Where's the same energy towards Frank for this shit? Don't get me wrong. It's not all Frank's fault, because it wasn't all Ange's fault, and it wasn't all Conte's fault, and it all wasn't Poch's fault, and it all wasn't Nuno's fault. ENIC will and always will be the biggest problem at this football club. They will always be the biggest problem, because they recruit the people that scout and bring so-called talent to this club. The players you see on the pitch every single season is down to the recruitment team that the manager signs off on, because every manager at this club is a yes man. They're too scared to call out the board. Whereas when Romero does it, we've got fans that want to go after Romero, when it's the manager that should be calling out the board. That's why Conte was the best manager this club ever had, because he sat there and for 10 minutes, he dropped the mother of truth bombs. He told every fan what's going on at this club. So, ENIC hire the recruitment team, ENIC hire yes men, ENIC fire managers. They're the ones that own this club. What you're seeing on the pitch is a reflection of our board. People that don't give a shit, who don't care. And I'm going to go in now, because I've got such a rant in me. I really do. My blood's boiling tonight. I am sick to death of hearing people, especially YouTubers, call out the board and don't go to protests. I'm sick of hearing podcasters and YouTubers sit there saying, I'm really frustrated. I'm really sick to death of this club. Why aren't they signing players for Frank? Why aren't they signing players for the previous manager? And then they go on Sky Sports and they go on Talk Sport and they go on this podcast and this show. How's about you come to the protest? 62,000 fans go to the home game. 2,000 go to the protest. What are the other 58,000 plus fans doing? What are they doing? So when people say to me, oh, you can't blame the fans. Oh, yes, you can. Oh, yes, you can. But too many people are scared to say that, because if you say, I do blame some of the fans, because if you say that, all people might not like you. They might unsubscribe from your channel. They might not want to be your friend. Bullshit. It's the truth. I was right about ENIC 5-6 years ago. And I'm right about what I said 3 years ago when I said the fans are part of the problem because they allow ENIC to get away with this. They allow ENIC to do this to us. If you really cared, you'd go to the protest. I'm not talking about the overseas fans because obviously they're not going to pay £700
But still,
to get on the plane
there were
and
fairly
protest.
large protests last season, and now Levy's gone.
Sim, 2,000 fans. That's not even 3% of the stadium. It's not even 3% of the stadium.
Yeah, but the consequence. Well, wouldn't say the consequence of the protest, but Levy has left, right? So some fans want to see what ENIC 2.0 in quote unquote are capable of.
ENIC got rid of Levy to get the fans off their back. Levy owns part of ENIC. ENIC are the majority holders, not Levy. If you look at the scarves at the protest, it says ENIC out, Levy out. It was all of it out. It wasn't just Levy. Levy's part of the problem, not the full problem. ENIC have always been the problem. You've got Charrington. You've got Charrington, an investment banker that's supposed to come here and fix the finances. The finances were fine. He hasn't got a stadium naming rights deal, and all he's doing is investigating Levy. They're trying to find dirt on Daniel Levy rather than actually, using the funds that we've got to go and buy top players for the football team. We're in the fucking mud and we're signing 19-year-olds. And you've got fans who never learn, who are now saying stupid things like, oh, get off the kid's back, give him a chance. I'm sick of hearing this. These are the same fans and the same people that said, oh, when we signed Udogie, in 3 years' time, he's going to be one of the best left-backs in the world. Well, 3 years have gone. Talk to me about Udogie. The same fans who said, Mateus Tell, Archie Gray, they're going to be generational talent. Really? Really? The same fans, when we signed Vicario, said, oh, Buffon said he's going to be one of the best. In 3 years' time, Vicario is going to be a top goalie. It's 3 years. 3 years have passed. They jump on this bullshit every single time. We are in desperate need of players. We are in such urgent need of some players to come and join this club that are decent, experienced, not fucking more kids. Sorry for swearing. And what do? We sign a 19-year-old from Brazil, and I'm supposed to be okay with that. I'm supposed to not call it out. No, I'm sick of it. Barry, Sim, I'm sick of this. We don't need a freaking 19-year-old football player.
No, we don't.
That's what the academy's for, right? We waste all our money on kids. Odebert, Tell, Gray, this Brazilian kid. We've spent over 130, 50 million on kids. What's the point of the academy? Spend the money on experienced players and fucking develop the academy players like Mikey Moore, Donnelly, Dane Scarlett, Vuskovic, Mikey Moore, Williams Barnett. Develop them for the first team.
You look at Aston Villa, had the squad they've built. It wasn't all big money signings, was it? Tielemans and Kamara both signed on a free. Rodgers was signed from the Championship. Watkins, I think, was signed from the Championship as well. Like they were very smart with their recruitment. Are you saying we should follow their lead and not having to spend big money? It's not about the money spent. You're saying it's about the experience.
Aston Villa are smart because they got rid of Lange and sent him to us.
Yeah.
That's why Aston Villa is smart. Since he's left, they're challenging for league titles.
But then my point being, it wasn't due to spending hundreds and hundreds of millions on players, was it?
Sim, my point is this. If you've got money, spend it on some quality players. Whether they're players that we've not heard of, like Van der Ven, Christian Eriksen, these kinds of players who we never heard of, who turned out to be really good signings, spend the money on that. Don't waste it on a bunch of 18 and 19-year-old kids that aren't ready, and that's going to use up our transfer budget. The transfer budget should go on experienced players that our scouts can identify, not on a bunch of kids that aren't ready for this shit. The kids should come from the academy. The kids should come from the academy. None of the academy kids are breaking through into the first team, yet the first team full of kids loses every week. Make sense of it. Make sense of a losing football team where we've spent money on kids to be in that losing football team and the academy kids get mugged off. That's one part of the failed transfer process. The other part is our talent ID is it's so restricted. It's so restricted in what we can do because we're not prepared to do the things that other clubs are prepared to do, like a larger wage bill. spending the money on proven talent. We need proven talent at this club. We might not get the Ezes, we might not get the Morgan Gibbs Whites, we might not get the Semenyos, because those players, as soon as a bigger club comes along, we can't compete. They're going to go to Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City. Facts. But we can go and get Lookman. No one's looking at Lookman. Go and get him. No, we go and sign a 19-year-old from Brazil that everyone's going to make a YouTube about, telling me, oh, he's generational. He's the second coming of Roberto Carlos. In 3 years' time, he's going to be the best in the world. I can't listen to this no more. I can't listen to this anymore. I'm watching my team lose every week. You know, Sim, Ben, Barry, the manager is the wrong manager for Tottenham. The recruitment team clearly have got instructions to follow a policy that doesn't work.
Yeah.
The fans... I've got no idea what this fan base is about anymore. I'm completely heads gone.
Well, today, still they were chanting "sacked in the morning," and Thomas Frank is an Arsenal fan. Apparently, the home crowd.
Yeah, because they're a bunch of dumbasses. They're a bunch of dumbasses. I'll call them out. I'm not scared to say it. They should be calling out the board. Who gave Frank the job? Who went and scouted Thomas Frank? We had. Oh my God, I'm losing my mind. We had Ange Postecoglou. Whether you love him or hate him, people, it doesn't matter what you think of him. He gave you what you wanted, that you have been crying out for 20 years, a trophy. You can call it a fluke, you can call it luck, you can say any manager could have won it. He won it. He mugged off the Premier League to deliberately bring that trophy to this club because he knew we needed it. And the 250,000 fans that turned up on the high street, that's your answer. That's what it meant. And he saw that. He knew that. What we should have done is just given him a chance, because those players were unified. For the first time, there was a unity between players, manager, and a large section of the fan base. What did this board do? They grabbed the grenade, pulled out the pin, threw it in, and blew it all up. Now look at the state of this club. Look at the fucking state of this club. If you're going to sack Ange, you bring in a proven winner. Someone that knows how to win trophies. Someone that knows how to play 2 games a week. Someone that knows how to be in Europe and the Premier League. No. You bring in a manager who's lost all his life. You bring in a manager with no European experience. And you bring in a manager that doesn't know how to play 2 games a week. When he played 2 games a week at Brentford, his win rate dropped down to 25%. It doesn't make sense. And on top of that, you keep Lange at the club, who is one of the worst football directors we've ever had. Everyone had to go at Hitchin. Is this guy any better than Hitchin?
It's maybe worse, some would say. Is he worse? Who knows?
This is what I'm saying.
What do you think the breaking point will for the board?
I'm angry, guys. I'm angry, guys, because I'm angry because the season's over now for me. It's done. There's nothing left. We're not winning the league. We're not getting top 4. We're not winning the Champions League. We're out the Carabao. We're out the FA Cup. What have I got to look forward to? What? An end of season push to try and get into Europe, mate.
What do you think will be the breaking point for the board? Do you think they'll sack him off the back of tonight, or do you think you're going to give him every opportunity again? Still,
it doesn't matter if they sack him, because the same idiots who hired him are the same idiots in charge of hiring the next manager. They don't know what they're doing, Sim. They haven't got a clue what they're doing. It's the decision makers at the top that are causing all these problems, and it trickles down into the recruitment team, the academy, the manager, the coaching, the player recruitment. The whole thing stems from ENIC, which is why I've got an issue with the fans. I'm going to bring it back to the fans. Everyone moans about the way this club's run. Everyone moans about the board. Everyone moans about ENIC. Everyone moans about Levy and ENIC 2.0. Stop moaning and demonstrate. Stage a walkout. Let's have 20,000 people on the high street and bring this club to a standstill. Let's show that enough is enough. But no, you'll get 2,000 turn up. The other 58,000 are in there eating their Asian fusion noodle and naan, their exotic pizza. It's bullshit. The whole thing's bullshit, man. Every year we go through the same cycle because we as a fan base accept it. We accept this. Only 2,000 fans on the high street don't accept it. The overseas fans, I don't blame them because they can't just fly over and spend hundreds of pounds to go to a protest. The fans who live outside of London, like Hartlepool, Hull, Scotland, and I don't expect them to give up a whole day spending money to come to a protest. The fans that go to the games on a match day, there's no excuse.
But still,
And
you weren't. Were you demand? Go on.
You're gone. Sorry. I was going to say, and if they say, "Oh, I haven't got time for a protest," well, you've got time to be in YouTube in the comments, calling out the problem, moaning about ENIC. You've got time to go on Twitter doing an analysis of why ENIC are the problem. Mate, you've got the time. You just choose not to give it to where it needs to be.
Well,
and this is why we're in this mess.
But were you demanding the continuation of the protests after Daniel Levy left?
For me, there was no point protesting because I know how it works because I've been to them for 6 years. If I tried to protest when Levy left, nobody would have turned up. Because the way it works at this club is you have to wait until everyone sees the light, everything goes to shit, to everyone to say, right, we need to protest again. That's how it works at Tottenham. At Tottenham, we only react when we're in the mud, when we're in the complete gutter. From day one, I said, guys, I'm not sure about Frank. You know, I got called a flip-flop for saying keep Ange. And the reason I said keep Ange is because we finally had unity. Listen, Ange might have been just as bad, guys. I'm not here to say that Ange is the solution, but you don't break something when you've got that bond, that unity. There was a togetherness there. Let it play out and see what happens. But no, we've thrown a grenade in it, and it's all gone to shit now.
And still, you're right, because looking at the website, the headline is Villa Edge Cup Clash. Well, they didn't edge it. There's no way that was an edging. And the match report was a spirited second half fight back just wasn't enough. Like the rhetoric and the language that's coming out from this football club is ridiculous.
What's wrong with that?
What do you mean?
The headline
Villa Edge Cup Clash. They didn't edge it. They
1-2-1.
They didn't edge it though, Sim, did they? It wasn't a tight game. Was
Guys,
it?
In the second half.
Guys, go back and watch that second half, right? I've seen this play out 1,000 times. What the headline should be is
10 minutes of football.
Tottenham rally in second half when there's nothing to lose. That's what it should say. Because what happened is we came out, there's nothing to lose now. Let's just go for it because we're out the cup already. 2-0, it's game over. We rally, we get the goal. And then what a good manager does, like Unai Emery, he spots that his team's beginning to wobble. Uh-oh, we're in trouble here. Makes the subs. And slowly but surely, he got back control of the game. The way Unai Emery and Aston Villa managed that second half when we were beginning to be in the ascendancy was a masterclass. Mm-hmm. The way they started going down, grabbing their ankles, picking up the fouls, looking for the fouls, getting in our players' heads. Mate, they got into our heads. That's why our players lashed out at the end of the game. They got to us. It was a masterclass in managing a game that they were losing a grip on. Unai Emery's brilliant at that. So, yeah, we rallied for about 15 minutes. We looked like we were going to get a goal. We were a little bit unlucky with an offside decision, but it was the right decision. But, mate, Aston Villa hit the crossbar second half. They had a few chances as well.
They had a shot off the line, didn't they?
Yeah.
Valbuena off the line.
Sorry, shot off the line, yeah. And, you know, they managed that. They managed that period after our little spell really, really well.
Frank said after the game, if we played the first half like we did the second half, we would have won.
Mate, he's trolling us. I swear to God, he's trolling us. He's absolutely trolling us, this guy. It's unreal. No shit, Frank. How's about you send us out on the front foot in the first half then? How's about you send us out to go for the kill? You know, some teams, they go for the kill in the first half, try and get a 2-goal lead, and then they say to the opposition, you come and get back in the game and we'll pick you off on the counter. Us, no, you know, be careful. Let's play not to lose. And then if we're in trouble and there's nothing to lose, all right, then we'll take the shackles off and we'll try and get back in the game and attack. But you can't do that because good teams won't let you get back in the game and win. You might score a goal like we did today. You know, the same thing happened against Liverpool. The same thing happened against Fulham. Oh, but look at Spurs in the second half against Liverpool. Look at Spurs in the second half against Fulham. Guys, we lost. We lost every game. It doesn't matter because you've given up the game in the first half. Football is 90 minutes, not 45. So, look, I can't do it. For me, Frank isn't the solution. And I've said it before on your show. If you want to chuck £400 or £500 million at him to get top four, do it. That's as far as he's going to take us. but he's not the long-term solution if fans want glory. The players, they're better than what we're seeing, but they're not good enough to be challenging for major honours. The recruitment team are so substandard it beggars belief. The board couldn't give a shit. Vinay came in as this so-called communicator. He's going to liaise with the fans. Where is Vinay? He's been so quiet. You'd think the guy's in a coma. He doesn't speak, and he's come into. He's actually worse than Donna Cullen. He's worse than Donna Cullen when it comes to communication. And then you've got the fans who want to blame Romero. They don't want to protest, and then they pick and choose when to blame Enoch and when to blame the manager. Hey, nothing works. Nothing works. Board, fans, players, manager, recruitment. We're just lucky that Wolves, Burnley, and West Ham are so shit that we can't get relegated.
Do you think if we do lose to West Ham, he might be gone?
If we lose to West Ham and he's not gone, I will find where he lives. And,
Stop right there, still.
and drag him into a plane and send him to the Bahamas to go and live with Joe Lewis.
Okay, I was wondering where that was
you know what? I'm glad you said stop there because I had to change my story. I was about to lose it. Yeah, but you get my point.
Yeah.
I don't think we lose to West Ham though. We're too good not to.
We're not too good still. We've seen this before. Come on.
We did draw to Wolves.
We drew to Wolves still.
I've just got this feeling that we will beat West Ham. But to answer your question, if we draw to West Ham, he should be sacked.
Yeah.
If we draw to West Ham, we're at home. By the way, another home game we've lost.
Yeah.
That stadium's a curse. You know that.
Yeah.
So you know them dolls where you prick it like they do juju and voodoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the builders must have been a gooner and did like major juju whilst they were building it and said, "Ha, we got them." You know, you try and explain it. We just can't get any results at our home ground, and I think that's why the fans as well are so pissed off because most fans go to home games, don't they?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's it.
Can I ask you one question, guys?
Go on.
In your opinion, when you see a second half of football where we look better, do you think it's the players or do you think it's more the manager that the first half we just look like we haven't got a clue what we're doing?
Well, I think you have to put the conclusion that it's the manager because that first half has been the norm. That second half has been the exception. We have seen similar performances that second half. For example, I thought at times against Bournemouth and maybe against Brentford, we were like that. Maybe the first half against Sunderland. But the norm has been that first half. That's been the majority of the season. So when I'm looking at what Frank is trying to implement, I would say that, as you say, when we've got nothing to lose, then all of a sudden we're seeing like what we did in the second half, and all of a sudden we're seeing the players fly forward and we're pressing really aggressively and we're getting Xavi involved and we're playing through the centre. But you know what was crazy? We're playing through the centre and then he changed it and then he put Scarlett right wing and then which I didn't understand, and then he changed the formation and it completely nullified us and we went back to just playing out wide and putting crosses in when Xavi, Moani and Odegaard had a really good thing going in that second half, playing it through the middle and actually finding little pockets of space and actually getting little openings. And we got a goal from it. And then he changed it up. I didn't understand that.
He's making decisions that is affecting the players, but I think that the players, there's blame like you say, still there's blame everywhere, right? And I just don't understand how Polinia, second half, if we take him as an example, where's the fight, where's the desire, and like you said, where's that fight at the end? Why are they not having... They got to that point because Villa were just playing with us. But if they showed a bit more of that fight at the start, Villa wouldn't be able to play with us. So at some point, those players have got to take some responsibility for what they're doing on the pitch. They can't go on the pitch and go, surely they must all be thinking, if it's all on Frank with these tactics, surely they must be going on this pitch going, well, this is bollocks, we're not going to play it. And just, do you know what I mean? I don't know. Surely,
So-
I don't know.
There's a few things on what you said. First of all, Paulinho is hands down the best number 6 at this club, and he's a very good number 6 in the league. Frank mugged him off for the last 2 months. Completely mugged him off. Go make sense of it. He's easily one of the most passionate, hard-working, tough tackling, and he's got a goal in him midfielder we've got right now. He benched him for the last 2 months. Xavi Simons, he's overrated. He's not all that. Blah blah. Xavi Simons is a top player. Let him sit in the middle. Let him be free, and let us be an attacking team, and you will see a good Xavi Simons. He's another one that's been sitting on the bench for a while. And when we play such negative tactics. It doesn't work to his game. Our tactics do not work to his game. Then you've got players like Matthias Tell, who I'm not a big fan of, but he had a decent game against Bournemouth. And today, yeah, you're right, it was clicking. So why did he bring on Solanke for Tell? Like, what the fuck was that about? Made no sense. So this is why I've always said, when fans say this squad is shit, it's the players, they're crap. Yes and no. The squad's not good enough to get top 4, but it's much better than what we see. And we do not play a system to the strength of our players.
Yeah.
Just look at the fullbacks at this club. They've gone to complete shit because we don't play them to their strengths. Porro's gone to mush. Spence, he's been dropped for Ben Davies. Ben Davies! What are we doing here?
He was probably one of our better players today. Which goes to show everything.
We lost with Ben Davies. We lost with him. Spence is a far better attacking player than Ben Davies. But that's the point. Frank doesn't want the attacking option. He doesn't want us to have those attacking players. Spence was the best player against Liverpool, so aggressive going forward. That's the Jed Spence that we saw at Nottingham Forest when we signed him. But Ange stifled Spence by inverting him. And now Frank's stifling him by, number one, not playing enough attacking football. Number two, dropping him for Ben Davies. I could pick out 6-7 players that are suffering because of Frank's tactics. So I agree with what you're saying there about the players. You can blame them to some degree, but do you know, nothing's going to change whilst Enoch are here, guys. I'm telling you, nothing's going to change whilst Enoch are here.
So you saying we have to start the protest back up again? Is that what you're calling for?
We should never have stopped them, but you won't get the numbers because, unfortunately, our fan base is very much. I don't know why, but all I can see is Danny, and I feel sick.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, there we go. but yeah, look, I'll wrap it up because I want Danny to come on as well.
Go on.
But the problem with us is our fans are so desperate for a 3-course Michelin meal. When you give them some crumbs and they taste those crumbs, they think it's Gordon Ramsay. No, it's crumbs. So you have to wait for them to realise, guys, you've been given crumbs. Oh yeah, these are crumbs. Okay, we need to protest again. we need to fire up the protests again. Mate, the day we sacked Ange and brought in a manager that wasn't better, that was your answer right there and then. But fans had to wait and see that because they jumped on the whole, we just need a coach. Frank's going to make us more defensively better and he's got good tactics, blah, 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 blah. Now they've seen it for what it is. And fans jumped on the whole Enoch 2.0. Let's wait and see what they do. Okay? Well, I think fans have seen enough. This transfer window so far is absolute dog shit. And we are desperate for players. So fans have to see it for themselves. And once they see it and they realise it's crumbs they've been fed, okay, we need to protest. But I tell you now, guys, we'll fire up there's a protest plan, change for Tottenham. There's one that's going to be announced for the West Ham game. There's going to be a protest for the West Ham game. But here's the problem. I guarantee you we won't get the numbers. We won't get the numbers. And then you'll see what our fans are really about. They think just sacking the manager is going to fix the problem, or 1 or 2 signings will fix the problem, or change Vinay for someone else, that will fix the problem. Mate, we need a complete new ownership that brings a complete fresh start to this club. A fresh identity, a fresh way of thinking, a fresh approach to running Tottenham Hotspur, a complete restructure of the recruitment team, a younger, more modern, forward thinking, dynamic board of directors, a new manager, a new coaching team, and then we can begin a rebuild. People always talk about Arsenal. Look how long Arteta got. Look how much time Arteta was given. What they don't talk about is 2 years before Arteta became manager, that's when the Cronkies took 100% control of Arsenal. There wasn't a new ownership at Arsenal fully until 2 years before Arteta came. Then Josh Kroenke stepped in as CEO. He changed the recruitment team. New board of directors came in. They got rid of Vinay. They even changed the head scout twice. That was a complete reset. We haven't had that. We haven't had that reset. It's an illusion. It's a con. You've been given crumbs, people, and you think you're eating fillet steak with lobster. ENIC are still freaking here. They've just, what's the word? They've repackaged it.
Rebranded.
Rebranded it. Arsenal was a complete reset. New owner, new CEO, new board of directors, new recruitment team, new manager, new head scout. Completely got rid of every player. The only one that survived was Saka. That's the difference. Us, we jumped on the bandwagon. Oh, yeah, Levy's out. Yeah, it's all done. It was never done.
And also, there's someone's done a comparison of the results Arteta got compared to Frank, and Arteta got far better results in his first 30 games than Frank has. So, make of that all deal.
Listen, and I guarantee you this. If Arteta doesn't win a major trophy this year, they will sack him. They will sack him. 100% he'll be gone. But I'm really at a point now where I'm sick to death of writing off seasons because these things take time. It's a process. There's a plan. There's no plan.
That time's never going to come. I agree. That for me as well.
It's the same thing all the time.
That for me as well is so sick of another. Well, when we sat down, just like, okay, so is this another transition season? Every season is a bloody transition season. We never have just a season we can judge. It's just transition after transition after transition, writing off the season in January. Like every single year it happens, and that's not what I'm so frustrated with, and that's what this club is in continuous cycle, and which we can't get out of. But look, still, we're gonna have to move on. Appreciate you calling in as always, bro. Good to see you. And
guys, you have a good weekend, and yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Much love to everyone in the chat, even the haters. Deep down, I know you love me. Deep down, deep down.
They do.
Charlton have just got a goal back against Chelsea.
Yeah, the Charlton.
2-1 to Chelsea.
Rossini about to bottle it. He's about to bottle it. Let's get Alexander on. Alexander, how we do? You got the highlights on there in the background, do you?
There's no highlights.
There's no highlights.
No, it's just a frozen screen.
Tell me, today, some people saying better second half. Frank said today, if we played like the first half like we did in the second half, we would have won. But we are out the FA Cup and it's another defeat. How do you feel?
It's quite similar to Bournemouth. My hope for the game wasn't really there from the start, but our attitude is not there. It's not there. I just know that. You could see it in the players today. Even if we progress today and somehow manage to scrape it to penalties and progress, we're not winning the FA Cup. We're not. Not with this squad, not with this mentality, not with this manager, especially not with this manager. So it doesn't hurt as much in that sense because my long-term vision is we're not going to win the FA Cup this season with Frank anyways. But it still hurts because we saw that Villa, they just scumbagged it today. They played with us. And they do like most other teams do. They go out attacking in the first half because they know they're going to capitalize on us because our team structure isn't there, our solidity isn't there. So they get 1 or 2 goals in the first half. And then the second half, they do like most teams do. Can just relax, take the piss out of us, time waste, defend more. Like that's Vinay's Emery's plan. It was his plan to just go for it in the first half and then second half sit back because he knows it's gonna pay off. We don't have it in us to come back in the second half and turn the result around. We're not. So that's their plan. And for us, that we don't have the attacking quality to capitalize and to turn a game around, especially not a 2-0 deficit against Villa. We don't have it in us. And another cup gone, and I'm where Stell is now. I don't have anything to look forward to this season. You could go on a run in the Champions League, but that's not winning it. I'm like that every season. So yeah.
When you see how we played in that second half, more attacking, going at them, and looking a lot more, creative and a lot more dangerous. Like, what conclusions do you take from that? Why do we not see that more often?
Yeah.
Like, does that show you that the players, if we do play in a certain way, we can get more out of them, or is the fact that we didn't overturn it still prove that these players just aren't good enough?
It's a mix of both, guys. It's a mix of both. We're reactive as a club. We haven't just been this under Frank. It's been like this under Ange, under Conte. Like, when we go down, we look out of motivation when we go into the game, when the game goes off, and then when we go 1 or 2 goals down, then the players suddenly wake up. They're like, okay, maybe we can't play around today. Maybe it's just not a walk in the park today. Maybe this team isn't as bad, and then they turn up a gear. But most of the times, it's usually still not enough, because the intent that you have to have, the attitude you have to win a game, has to be there from the first minute. Because if you let a team like Villa capitalize 1-2 goals, they go up, then it doesn't matter how good you're going to be in the second half. Not with these players. You're not going to be able to come back from a 2-0 lead. And they knew that, so they utilized that. And honestly, I just want to go into Frank too, because I was one of the people that thought no matter what happens this season, we should just stick with him. It's not worth going through another manager. And my motto is that the recruitment at the club has to change before the manager does. No matter what kind of manager it is, he's never going to be the root cause of the issue at the club. So unless we don't change the recruitment before we change him, then you're not going to get anywhere long term. You're not. And I'm honestly, I'm all behind Conte's words. He said, you can keep on changing managers, but the situation is not going to change. So he's my favorite manager at the club, and I'm all behind his words. Because I know he knows our club after his time of being here, and he's elite. So I have all the reason to be behind him, and his words, they haven't failed us. They've been right for over 4 or 5 years now. They've all been correct. He hasn't been wrong on anything. And with Frank, what did fans expect? He wasn't a miracle overperforming manager when he came into Brentford. Slow start, even when they were below, when they were in Championship League 1. He didn't pull up any trees, did any miracles. Fans expected that though this season. They expected him to become someone else that he hasn't been during his entire career. He's never been this guy we expected him to be. He's never been that. We just have this naive hope of maybe he can become that. Maybe he can become an whatever manager, whatever elite manager you want to throw into there. And honestly, I expected it to be mediocre and unexciting and whatever. But it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, the board, the ownership of this club, they don't share the ambitions. They don't share the ambitions that most of us fans do have. They don't. Their main priority is sustainability. First, above anything, is sustainability and not taking any risks, not risking our PSR, because we haven't never done that, we've never done that. Not just going for it. They've never gone for it in that sense. And unless we see them being brave, then it doesn't even matter if the manager is brave. You saw that with Ange. He won us a trophy. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. And even during fans that said third season, why not give? Honestly, it's so bad now with Frank that giving Ange a third season, how much worse could it be? And I was one of the fans that said, you can't sack him now. It's ridiculous. It's our first trophy in 70 years. We're gonna get ridiculed if you sack him now. In this moment, Spurs sacking the manager that broke their trophy drop, But looking at how it is now, how much of a loss would it be to keep him? Honestly,
no, Alex,
how much of a loss?
I agree with you in the fact that what are we 6 months, 7 months from winning the Europa League, and now look at where we are. It's like it's like we never even won it. We're just a
Exactly.
shambles, right?
Yeah.
It was
And,
41 years between winning the last Europa League and that. The FA Cup, we haven't won since 1990. 34, 35, 36 years, whatever you want to look at it, 36 years. That's disgraceful. I just don't. It'll probably be be another 5 years, and we might even chat. We're winning trophies or major trophies. I mean, we're not even talking about the league because it'd be well, it's 100 years today since 120 years since
1901,
125 years since we won the first time we won the FA Cup. Well, it's going to be 125 years between the next time we even get anywhere close to challenging for a league title.
Yeah, but the FA Cup has been our kryptonite ever since the 2000s. It's been our like when we've gone into the 2000s, it's been our kryptonite. Before that, we were the leaders of it during the.
Oh, well, because that's when we started talking about the year ending in one, yeah. We got to 2001 and we're like, the year ends in one. We're going to win the FA Cup because that's what we do, and then we didn't.
When Frank said this season that we've heard it from Ash too, it's going to be a roller coaster. Don't expect like flowers and rainbows and blah blah blah. It wasn't honest of him. He should have said, guys, it's going to be a train crash. It's going to be a train crash. Expect that, and maybe if we manage to keep the train on track, then maybe that exceeds your expectations, and you don't have this, negative.
Alex, it's like the roller coaster in Final Destination, mate. It's not like a normal roller coaster.
Yeah. But it all goes like. It's all been wrong at the club ever since Conte left. Like our appointments, our signings, everything has been wrong. Like in majority, when it comes to squad building, we haven't done that at all. Like we've just replaced average unproven punts with average improvement punts. That's what we've done. And with Ange too, you can argue you should have kept him, but the proof there is he's never going to work 2 games a week. He's never going to work 2 games a week in the Premier League. That's the proof. And now with Frank, we see that's apparently the same too. 2 games a week, they don't work. The only way you have a manager that works 2 games a week is one that has experience with it, that has made it work before, and one guy that has the tactical expertise of the game, but also the passion and the respect on his CV that makes his group of players bound together and come under him and see him as a leader.
And the squad.
Frank, I think Frank has the tactical part, but he doesn't have that other passionate family that makes the players respect him. Andrew was the total opposite. In terms of tactics, it was the total opposite way of football too. But he had that family like creating feeling. So we've switched up the football completely to something completely different, and the personality of our manager has switched up too. So we've just, we've bounced back and forth, and it explains the story of the club for the last 5 years. It's the same thing, and
but that's what Stell's talking
not
about.
Gonna change. I'm with Stell because Stell today he put it all out there. I mean, I think people can come on and we can elaborate on our own sort of perspectives and versions, but he put it all out there. Honestly,
yeah, Alex, he did, because the point here is that we're trying to change things, but actually we're not changing. We're not changing what needs to be changed, because we go from an attacking manager to a defensive manager to an attacking manager to someone in between. Do you know what I mean? And then
you can't mention any successful top club in Europe that does that and actually finds a way out with success and actual it doesn't work.
No, and you look at Chelsea, okay? And this is not to start blowing things about Chelsea, but Chelsea have got a plan. They've got a manager that they've just brought in who plays the system that they want, because that's how Chelsea are going to play football. Do you know what I mean? So they're backing that manager, but they're doing it in a way that they're not changing formation, they're not changing personnel, they're not having to drastically change all these things. I mean, look, they've got money, they can do it, right? But they're trying to stick to a plan. Celtic today won 4-0 with the same players that couldn't buy a win under their previous manager, because they went back to Martin O'Neill. The same players. So I
still don't think it's gonna get us because now we're out of the FA Cup. Sacking Frank isn't gonna get us. If it's not gonna get us Europa League, and we get some sort of that, then I don't think it's worth it, because that's what my target was at the start of the season.
But you saw Xavi played the way he did in that second half. Why do we not see him play like that more often, do you think?
Sim, you can't deny it. It's tactical restraints. That's what it is in the first half. It is. And when he sort of says, F it, I'm just going to let loose now. I'm just going to let my... And Frank, he knows he's not going to mind it. He's not going to discipline him or anything afterwards, because he knows that we have to go for it now. So the game plan from the get-go is wrong. The only real time I can see it work is if you practice it for years, 1 to 2 years consistently. You play Frank's dull way, you play his way, but eventually it leads to you being as efficient as he was at Brentford. That when they get a goal-scoring opportunity, they strike every time. They're clinical, because that was his football at Brentford. They were one of the highest converters in the league for 3 years running. It was his football. Not much chance creation, but when it came. And defensively solid, etc. With us, he's panicking. He's going into this direction. Oh, I have to try this. Defense want me to try this. He tries it, doesn't work. He backtracks. He goes into this direction, it doesn't work. He's all over the place, and to be honest, now we have to say that he's not fit for the job. He can be fit for the job if all of us fans, we retire for 5 years, we don't watch this club, and we just let the team and the manager do their own thing. No fans watch. Just don't go to the games, and then we come back after 5 years. Then we work. I can guarantee you that we work. But that's not football. That's not how the football world works. And the way I see it, he's gonna suffer the same destiny as Ange and as all our other previous managers. When I see him, because he actually has charisma on the touchlines, he springs, he instructs. He chews his gum. You think his jaw is gonna dislocate because he chews so goddamn much, and he actually is energetic. Ange, we saw him, but last game too, I saw Frank, like in the end, he just gave up. He just gave up after we conceded that third goal. He just stood there because, of course, he knows it's over. And I just got flashbacks. To Ange, really, honestly, saying shame, just hopeless. I've tried, but at what cost? I know I'm a dead man walking. I know. And
Alexander, we're gonna have to move on. Appreciate you calling on, mate. Thanks for calling in, and we'll see you soon.
Big up.
Take care. Big up, Alexander. Some more quotes from Frank. He said, disappointing. We all hurt. There's nothing we wanted more than to get through to the next round. We played at home. We had a good opportunity. We went with full strength. We'll look back at the game, and there are things we can do better. And second half, where we did well. He also says, I think the second half we played with energy, passion, intensity, how we want to play with penetration, runs, passes through the middle, scored a good goal. We had other chances and opportunities to get the equaliser. Couldn't get that, unfortunately, so that's disappointing. First half was not good, especially after the goal. We conceded the second one. That would have kept us more in the game in the second half, but the second half was energy. The cooperation, the unity of the fans was brilliant. They were very good. On the club's declaration of competing in all competitions, of course, it's disappointing. I said before the game that we went full strength. There was nothing. There were players we couldn't. Should we energise? Mickey, for example, is in a top place, but that was definitely a player to think about resting. But we wanted to do everything we could to win the game. We did everything we could, especially in the second half. You can see we did everything we could. Unfortunately, we faced a good Villa team as well. They made 2 moments. They scored 2 goals. We could have only made 1. And then, that's it, really. Let's get Aaron on.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Aaron.
Hi.
Nice of you to call in.
Thank you. So I just wanted to make a point, and then once I've made the point, it will kind of tie into what I want to say at the end. But if you look, for example, at Xavi Simons, when we first signed him, we spent 3 months playing him wide, when everyone knows he's a number 10.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at Kole Mwane, he's played about 20 games.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm right in saying he's only played 8 of those 20 games as a centre forward. right?
Yeah,
Then you look at
I think so. Sounds about right.
yeah, most of the time we play him out wide, and then we've played Richarlison through the middle.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the subs Frank's makes, we played Sunderland a few weeks ago. We were 1-0 up. He made 2 subs. He took off Wilson Odobert and Bergval, and he brought on Archie Gray and Paulinho. Now, my point is this. If you're constantly playing people out of position and you're constantly making subs that go, I'm going to protect the 1-0 that we've got, then you're basically telling the other team, don't worry about Tottenham. They're just going to settle back and try and settle on the 1-0. And we've all watched Tottenham for years. We've never been good at protecting 1-0 leads. Like, constantly playing people out of position. And then you get our fan base go, well, Kolo Muani ain't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we play him up front and give the boy a constant run in the team, playing in the position that we signed him to play? Why don't we play the number 10 constantly at number 10 with a run in the team? And why don't we, when we're winning games, make positive substitutions? And even today, we're losing 2-1. Bring on Scarlett, play the boy up front. What does Thomas Frank do? I'll put another striker on, but I won't play 2 up front. I'll put him on the right wing. And
he did play 2 up front, but he played Muani and Solanke there with Scarlett on the right.
Yeah, but again, Scarlett on the right is not a right winger.
Mm-hmm.
You're just killing all the boys' confidence. And I think what actually happened today is he sends the team out. None of them have got any confidence. They're all sitting there going, if I make a mistake, if I misplace a few passes, I'm just going to get booed. So what I'll do is I'll basically be passive and try and play safe passes and do nothing. And then when you're 2-0 down, you can go, oh, we've lost anyway, we'll have a go now. There's no pressure, so you all have a go, and we look better. So my argument is, put people in the positions that you bought them to play, give them a run in the team, don't give them an hour and then drop them for 4 games, and then bring them back in and put them out of position, and then drop them for 4 games, and then give them another hour up front. Nobody's ever going to get any confidence doing that. And it's a constant theme the whole season. We don't play people in positions. We write them off when we watch them play out of position. I'm not saying Kolo Muani's a world beater. We all know he ain't. But he'll score, reasonable amount of goals if you give him a run in the team and put him in the position that we signed him to play. And I personally think, I've got nothing against these 2 players, but I personally think Kolo Muani and Richarlison and Bentancur being injured is a massive blessing in disguise, because he's got no choice now than to give these players a run. We ain't got any other players he can bring in.
Who do you want to see get a run?
I want Xavi Simons to get a run as a 10 without being subbed off. I want Kolo Muani to get a run up front. I want Matthias Tell to get a run wide on the pitch where he's better. I want a game where we're 1-0 up, so we'll bring on a defensive midfielder, because he ain't got 2 defensive midfielders because one of them's injured. So he can only play one holding midfielder regardless of what he wants to do, because he ain't got a choice. And just putting people where they should be playing without fear of getting subbed off. I just think it would make a massive difference. And it won't be credit to Frank, it's because he's no longer got any choice.
Where do you stand with Frank? Do you think he should be gone? Do you think you would make a change?
Absolutely. There's no other way of wording it. He's got no balls. Whenever we're 1-0 up, his mindset is, I'm going to make sure we don't lose this game. Whereas whether you like Ange or you don't, when we had Ange, when we were losing the game, he went for it.
But we still lost.
Yeah, but what would you rather watch? A game where we've had a go, or a game where we tell the other team that we're not going to attack them and we're too scared of letting a goal in? I know what I'd rather be watching.
No, I get that, but 22 losses last season. And we're on 8 now.
And a Europa League.
Huh?
And a Europa League win.
Oh, Sim.
What? You want to leave that out?
I'm talking about the league. We're talking about the league. We're talking
about the FA Cup today.
Yeah, but we ain't going to do nothing in any competition unless you've got a manager whose mindset is, I'm going to give the other team something to worry about. I've not seen Thomas Frank do that once.
Why do you think in the second half it was better than in the first half?
Because they've got nothing to lose. At that point, they're out the cup. So they can play with freedom because it doesn't matter, because we've already lost.
It was crazy to me why we were just getting in the game, and then he puts Xavi out wide, brings on Scarlett, puts him out wide, and puts one
exactly
up top.
what I'm saying. Put people in the
that.
positions we've signed them for and give them a run. And I'm not saying if you do that we're top 4, but we're better than 14th. If you put people, I mean, I like Jed Spence, but he ain't a left back. He's got no left foot.
What manager would you like to see come in if we were to make a change?
I just want a manager that will have a go. I want to see positive. If we're 1-0 down, I want to see a manager that goes, I'm going to take off the holding midfielder, because it makes no difference if we let another one in because we're already losing at 1-0. Let's take off a holding midfielder and put on 2 strikers. And if we lose having a go, I personally think the majority of our fan base,
would you not say we had a go? Do you not say we had a go today?
Yeah, but again, like you just said, the substitutions are weird. Xavi Simons was having an impact on the game as a 10. We make a sub to move him out on the left, and then we take off Odebear to put on a young kid and play the young kid out of position. Like, where in that tactical plan does that make sense to anyone?
Yeah, I kind of agree. But Aaron, it's good to see you, mate. Appreciate you calling in.
Cheers.
And we'll speak to you soon.
All right, mate.
Thanks,
Take
man.
care.
Thanks a lot, Aaron.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think he makes some good points. I think he makes some very good points about
the people out of position, like you said, when Scarlett went out on the right,
I didn't understand that. And also, Xavi was running the game, and he put him out wide on the left for the last 15 minutes or whatever it was. I didn't get that as well, and it completely nullified us. Let's get Daniel on. Let's see what he's got to say. Hey, Daniel.
Yeah, hi guys. Do you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Germany.
Germany. I thought I heard a German accent there. I was just in Germany for New Year's.
But I have actually a Russian accent because I'm Russian.
Okay. My mistake. What was your?
It's okay.
What was your feeling on the game today? Was it encouraging? Second half, try to get back in the game, or more disappointment?
What I would like to say, I will never forget and I will never forgive Daniel Levy and Enik that they have sacked and didn't back Pochettino at 2019. And that's the point that we have. It's now for 7 years of this horror film.
Agreed.
We have always changing managers, now directors, and then all the house in our football club. We have won a trophy. It should be really a good game for us, but we didn't use it, and we are not using it at all. And I think all the fan base should accumulate, and firstly, for a West Ham game, we should show that we're together, and nevertheless, Enik or someone else could disturb our football club. I think that's the point.
So you think you're not buying the Enik 2.0 rebrand and all that stuff?
No, I don't believe it. I agree with Stel, with his point, and I think it will be the same carousel like before. And it will really tough time if we wouldn't have a change. Not we can support this changings, but if someone will not come to the club and will regain and will bring a new blood, new thoughts, I think we could be relegated, and it could be also this year. I don't believe at all that we will win a West Ham game next weekend. I think it will be a tough game for us.
You think it's in the balance? Where do you think, in terms of putting ENIC to a side at the moment, that you're saying they've mismanaged the club and they've put us in the situation? But what is the situation for you? Is it we have a bad manager? Is it bad players? Is it both? Where does the blame lie on the pitch?
I think manager, we shouldn't have appointed Thomas Frank from the beginning, but it was a decision on this football director, and also in Levy decision was it also, I think, not only him. And players are not so bad for me. They could, from this squad, I think this squad could achieve 100% sixth or seventh place. But Thomas Frank, of course, he has a bad time with injuries and something like that, just like had Ange before. But it's not a justify. I think you, as coach, as a manager, you can see in other coaches with all the poor staff or poor squads, but they achieved better goals. For example, Aston Villa, they didn't buy a lot of players. They did a great job, I think. For example, Emery is a top manager, for example, not Thomas Frank, for me.
So for you, would you sack the manager immediately? Do we need an immediate change?
But we don't have, yes, we can do it, but we don't have any plan. I don't see that our staff and our as ENIC and director staff, they don't have any plan. Okay, Pochettino, for me, I would have a Pochettino now, but I think it's not possible with USA team. Probably it could be done. I have an experience like Gus Hiddink, coach of Russian national team. He trained Chelsea and Russian national team at the same time, and it was functioned. I don't know if it's now in this time also possible. We will see, but I think we have to wait till the summer. But I hope that Thomas Frank will be sacked after West Ham game. I don't believe that he could win this game.
Okay, wow.
I don't believe it.
Well, if he doesn't beat West Ham, I think there's going to be a lot to answer for. The
board will be
draw probably 70% draw, but for me, I think they will lose. And today I had also view that, for example, our defender, they will try to pass this goal. They don't want to defend really good as they did it before. I think the players don't believe as well to Thomas Frank, and they don't want him to train them. This is my opinion.
You think they don't? You think the players want Frank out?
For sure.
Why do you think that?
No. For example, it was 2 months ago that Van de Ven didn't give a handshake to Thomas Frank with Jay Spence. I think this was the first sign for it. They don't agree with tactic, as I see it. They believed more Ange Postecoglou. Ange Postecoglou wasn't a decision. But as Stell, for example, said before, he brought this togetherness after the UEFA League Cup winning. And I think we should have given him a time after this winning, probably 3-4 months, and to see whether will be better or not. But we didn't do it, and now we have this problem. But it's not problem about the manager; it's a problem also on our staff, on our directors. And this chaos between Paratici, Lange, and Vinay, I think it's like a circus. It's really like a circus.
And I feel I feel like as well, at least with Levy, you kind of knew where the buck stops. You know, he's the one who's making the decision.
But was he making decisions?
Yeah, of course he was. Everyone knew he was one who signs off on everything. He's the one who decides the final decision to hire or fire a manager. The buck stopped with him. Right now, You've got Vinay, you've got Lange, you've got Paratici, you've got the Lewis family, you've got Charrington, you've got all these different voices. Apparently, none of them.
Paratici is gone. Paratici is gone.
Paratici, he, I think he doesn't. Yeah, he saw this club. He saw the mess it was in. He was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
But I also think that's part of the problem, isn't it? Like, we've got maybe too many cooks in the kitchen up there. And I think maybe as well, there are so many voices, no one can make the final decision. I've heard from a few people from behind the scenes that no one's making the final decision. No one really knows who's the one who's making the call. Like, if we want to sack Frank, who's making the call?
Taking that decision.
Who's making the call? Is it one person?
Yeah, Michael Carrick. I heard today Michael Carrick, probably Michael Carrick till the end of the season, and after that, Mauricio Pochettino.
But in your opinion, let's say we want Frank sacked. Who's making that decision? Is it a collective decision, or is it Vinay, or is it Charrington?
Vinay Lange, 100% not.
Those two, not 100% not.
They want to have him further, but it's I don't know for why.
I've heard there's a split in the boardroom about whether to sack him or not.
Exactly, 100%.
And that's a problem. That's a problem. You can't be having this indecision. You have to have someone decisive.
Daniel Levy should Daniel Levy would have sacked him 2 months ago, I think.
Yes, I think so as well. And for all his faults, at least you know with Daniel, that's where you stand. You have to make him happy, and that's it. Right now, it's like there's a few people in the boardroom. There's a group decision. Half them want him gone, half them don't. It's confusing. Is there full backing of him? Is there not? We haven't got the players coming in January. It's an absolute mess to this football club. But look, Daniel, appreciate you calling in. Lovely to speak to you. Please call in again, much. And we'll see you soon.
You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Appreciate you. That was from one Daniel to another. Let's get
here we go.
Danny on the show.
Danny is a fraud.
Let's get Danny. Well, what are you saying, Danny? You good? I think you're on mute.
No, it was.
Oh no, you're good.
Sammy muted me.
Keep it that way. No, I'm joking.
I'm good. How are you boys doing?
You good? Yeah, you're feeling happy. You feeling?
I'm so glad. I'm so glad that I took the decision to come here today, Danny. I wish I'd been at home.
Oh, Nick, it's been funny watching you, mate. It's been good
Danny,
actually seeing you on again.
Ask me this, Danny. Second half we played a bit more attacking, and you just saw how we were much more threatening, weren't we? Why don't we play like that more often?
It's because the players can't hack it that often. They can't play with that intensity that often.
Why not?
Because they're not good enough, Sim.
So why did we do it in the second half? Why did we do it in the second half?
Because, Sim, what this team loves to do is whenever this is what I can't understand with the fans, right? With the overall outlook on Spurs at the moment. Every time I've seen Spurs go 1 or 2-0 down, we're losing a game, right? You cannot. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to jump on this bandwagon where people say Frank is telling them to go and play like crap in the first half, and then as soon as they start going down by 1 or 2 goals, they all of a sudden they've got this new lease of life, like completely different players. That to me is the players actually trying to do something when there's no pressure on them. Conte said it himself before he got sacked. These players don't like to play under pressure. It's exactly the culture that's ingrained at this football club, which is why these players never are held to any accountability when they give performances like that, right? Why is it, Sim, that in the Liverpool game, right, when we went down to 9 men, right, all of a sudden we started playing much better than Liverpool with 9 men on the pitch? Are you going to sit there and tell me that Frank is saying, right, let's go down to 9 men and then go and start playing football? I'm sorry, that's absolutely insanity.
I would argue the tactics go out the window at that point and we just go for it.
But the thing is, are you going to sit there? I don't think Frank is sitting there saying, right, to the players, go and play complete defensive football and just don't do any effort, nothing. I was listening to Alan Shearer during the match, right? And I was listening to the commentators, and they were saying at the end of the first half, right? They were saying that the players just didn't look like they wanted to play. Like there was no energy. no fight, no desire, no nothing. You cannot sit there and tell me that a professional footballer goes out onto a pitch and looks like they don't want to play football, and then in the second half they look like a completely different team. They look like a completely different team. Why is it that they can get up for a second half when they're 2-0 down, right? But they can't do that at the beginning of the match. To me, Sim, I have seen this far too many times over the years with different managers, different squads, and it's the same shit that happens every single time, right? It's the same. I was watching a video, Sim, that we had on your channel 3 years ago, just after Conte got sacked, right? And I was watching it the other day, and it was literally, it's like we're talking about the same things. We're talking about the players being not good enough, the players not wanting to play under pressure, the manager getting sacked again, the club not having a plan. It's the same crap, right? For me, I've never once said I've always said with Thomas Frank, I never wanted him at this football club because I never thought he would be good enough to do the job that Tottenham fans want to see Tottenham, the type of team they want to be, right? He was never going to be that guy. But what people misinterpreted or they're misunderstanding where Spurs are right now, and Nick made a good point about earlier on, is that the fact is we are 17th. We were 17th last season, and fans are expecting a team that's used to losing in the last 2.5 years, right, to then go into an attacking team from where we were last season when we were attacking a bit more often. And I'm going to put it out there because people just don't want to look at the actual facts. Last season, the amount of times when we were losing and getting battered by teams, we weren't playing attacking football. People think we were playing attacking football. All it was we just had more possession and we were further up the pitch a bit more, right? Doesn't mean we were playing more attacking football. We were open like a free brothel. That's how bad it was, right? That's why we kept losing constantly, right? This season, what I see from the players is what I've always seen from Spurs since the Pochettino days, right? Is sometimes they would decide to turn up, sometimes they don't decide to turn up, right? Sometimes they have a good half, sometimes they have a good 15 minutes, sometimes they play shit for the whole game. Sometimes they just defend the whole game, they play on the counter. It's basically what I've seen from this team for years now, right? I haven't seen any difference, right? With Thomas Frank, what I think he can do for Spurs, right, is make us a better team than what we were last year, right? I think he can do that until the end of the season, right? Has he? Well, have we lost as many games this season?
We haven't played as many. Probably, I don't know.
This is the whole point. We haven't played as many. I don't think we have, right? So, for me, we're still not playing great football.
We might with this injury crisis that we're just embarking on now.
Well, this is the thing, Sim. Like, if you look at, and that's another thing, Sim, right? If you look at last season, right? Last season, most of our injuries were in defence. Would you agree or would you disagree?
There was a lot in defence, but also Solanke got a 3-month injury. Kadeki got a 3-month injury. Bergvall and Madison from April were done. But also Romero, Van der Ven got big injuries.
But those players you mentioned, apart from Romero and Van der Ven,
Bentancur got a 7-match ban, whatever it was.
Yeah, so we've had things like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of what I've seen this season, the majority of the injuries this season have been from an attacking perspective. So your central midfielders and your wingers and strikers. And last season it was predominantly the centre backs, because everyone keeps talking about how Archie Gray was playing as our centre back last year with Ben Davis, right?
Which is true.
And
Vicario was
and Vicario was also injured as well, right? So we struggled there, but we had the attacking players, right? This season we have the defenders more fit, but all the attacking players are injured, right? And yes, we've brought in Kudus, we brought in Muani, we brought in Xavi Simons, but they haven't lived up to those players. I think Kudus is definitely living up to his expectation. Maybe he could contribute more goals, but he is one of the most creative players in the Premier League this season. So we can't ignore that fact, right? If we look at
because our whole game plan is give it to Kudus. That's probably why.
Yeah, and why do you think that is, Sim?
Why? Because that's Frank's the only one who believes Frank's he likes to go down the wing, and we don't really have a left winger.
Well, so do you blame Frank then for going down the right wing?
Absolutely.
So why do you think he does decide to go down to Kudus' side when he was playing?
Well, look at it this way. Look at it this way, Danny. Do you think Xavi had a good second half today?
I think he had a good second half.
Yeah. Why have we not seen that more?
Because I think Xavi has been missing the last couple of games because he had a ban, right? And in the games that he has played, you have seen he is getting progressively better and better as he is playing more and more, right?
Well, did you think it's anything to do with that we played through the centre a bit more in that second half?
Yeah, I think we did play through the centre a bit more. But
so why don't we?
It's a good question, Sim. It's a very good question. I think it's down to the players and down to the manager, right? You have to say it's down to both, right? I don't think it's all on the players. I think the managers also, everyone's got to take their piece of the pie, of the blame pie, right? But I do think that the players should be able to put more desire and effort in, right? And how many times have we seen? Look, for me, when you see the Tottenham players again at the end of the match, right, fighting and they're getting into arguments with other players, and we've seen it how many times this season they've been arguments with their own fans and all sorts of crap that we've seen this season, social media stuff, right? There's obviously lots of stuff going on inside the club, and there's clearly a lot of crap going on, whether that's the players are not liking the manager, whatever it is, right? But for me, I don't care if the player doesn't like the manager or not. They're not, the players are not at that club to play for the manager. They're there at the club to play for Tottenham Hotspurs, right? That's who they should play for. The badge, the badges they wear. That's who they should play for, right? And if you're getting paid the money that they get paid, that's no excuse to go out onto a football pitch at the money that they get week in, week out, and not put effort in for the badge that they wear, right? I don't care who the manager is. I couldn't care less who the manager is, right? I want to see effort from the players, and I have not seen that for years, right? It's too inconsistent. And the reason why it's inconsistent is because we don't have a higher standard of player who can play at that consistently good level on a consistent basis, right? And because of all the injuries in attack, I think Frank is trying to make the most out of the what he's got, and I think he's struggled to find the balance, and he's struggling to find the balance because we keep constantly losing the ball. We can't make 5-yard passes, and our midfield just gets dominated in most matches. And that's because we do not have a midfield that can take the ball and control it and slow the game down and play at the tempo we want to play at, not what the other team's playing at, right? In the second half, what I saw was a team that wanted to fight for it. They had energy. They were just different. They were completely different. And for me, there's no excuses why they cannot play like that on a weekly basis.
But isn't that Frank's job to do that?
So are we going to sit here and say that it's Frank's job to tell the players to give their all every single game, every time they walk out onto the pitch?
For it. Is it motivation? Is that not a part of it?
Frank can motivate players, Sim, but the players at the end of the day are the ones who are on the pitch.
Correct.
Right? If a manager tells me to do a job, right, and motivates me, if I still don't do that job, that's me. That's my fault, right? That's on me.
Right. If the whole team isn't doing their job, then it's on the manager.
But the problem is we're seeing it that the team can do it in periods or in halves, right? So are you going to sit there and say that the manager is going into games and saying, don't play well in this half and then play really well in that half because we've got less pressure?
I think there are some, like today, I reckon he was probably going to that first half more focused on stopping Villa than he was on focused on hurting them. And then when all was lost, we're 2-0 down, he goes, you know what, let's just go for it. Go for them because we're 2-0 down.
Then it doesn't make sense that why we would do that when in the second half we against Liverpool, I'm just using that as the example.
Because we're 2-0 down.
But how is Frank going to relay that information to the whole team after we've just got two red cards, right, in a game in the second half?
Well, we only got the second red right at the end of the game.
Yeah, but when did we start playing actually good football?
Once Richarlison came on.
When Richarlison came, yeah, but we were still 10 players on the pitch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but why is it that we have to wait until that happens? Why can't we play like that at the beginning of the match? And for me, Sim,
because we wait till all is lost.
Yeah,
but why? But the Fulham game when we were all there, we went 2-0 down after 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
We scored a goal in whatever it was in the second half. Then we started playing. But surely, when we were 2-0 down after 6 minutes, we didn't start playing then.
No. Well, we tried.
We didn't.
But we weren't good.
We didn't. Sim. I was at that game. It was awful.
I was at that game. I was
with you.
No, you were with me.
No, you were with Barry. Yeah, you were.
Oh,
Barry.
yeah, it was Nick. Yeah. That was the game.
Sim was with the prawn sandwiches, mate, wasn't he?
Oh,
Left
yeah,
us.
he was. Yeah, he was.
Paid for by Daniel Levy, probably.
Nick's right? It's not every time that we. This is why I keep saying.
My point is that you're saying that it's proven the players can show it. It's on the manager to get out of them.
Sim, I am saying they can show it, right, but not on a consistent basis because they are just not good enough. They are average footballers, and the problem we have is the fans think that these players are good enough players to play like that on a consistent basis. When the last 2.5 years, they've clearly proven they cannot do that, right? Because Ange, let's just say that he did focus on the Europa League from January last year, right? He had to eliminate one competition, right? After we'd been eliminated from the other competitions, apart from the League Cup, we were in the semi-final still.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we had no other thing to focus on, right?
Yeah.
So we put all our energy into one thing, and even when we did that, we went against Ange's own principles, and the players even said themselves that they had to shut up shop in order to go and progress to the next matches, right? In the Europa League run. So for me, these players are we just don't have the players that can do it on a consistent basis. And if you look at the team today, like I don't know what people were expecting when you've got our squad is completely decimated with injuries, right? And we have got just players who are available that are not proven in this league, who are at a consistent level. So like, I heard you saying it earlier on in the show, Nick. I think it was I can't remember who it was, where you were talking about how we don't have a good enough. Our team is not as good as it was last year, right?
Yeah. To Daniel when he was saying who's better, Kolo Muani or Solanke, and I was like, what are we doing here?
I think our team's better this year.
It's not though, Sim.
It is though.
It's not. How is it better? How?
Because last year, for large parts of the season, we didn't have Vicario, Romero, Van de Ven.
But we had all the attacking players.
Or a doggy. Right, who would you rather in your team, Danny? Would you rather have Forster, Gray, and Davis playing, right? Or would you rather have Kudus, Mwani, and Xavi?
But are you comparing it to what are you comparing it to? So are you comparing it to the attack that we had last year and the attack we had this year, or
would I prefer James Maddison, Kulusevski and Son over Mwani, Kudus, and Xavi?
Yeah, but
is that what you're saying?
But would you
yes,
prefer,
I would.
Yes, but would you prefer Vicario, Romero, Van de Ven, or Forster, Gray, and Davis? Don't give me obviously.
Vicario, yes.
Obviously,
you're going to choose them. But why are you?
What's a bigger gap? What's a bigger gap in quality?
The attack.
The attack.
The attack.
Yes.
So you're saying there's a bigger gap. So wait. You're saying there's a bigger gap in quality between Maddison, Decky, and Solanke and Son. To what we have now is Xavi, Kudus, and Mwani.
Yes.
There's a bigger gap there than to Vicario, Romero, Van de Ven, and Gray, Davis, and Forster. You're saying that that's a smaller gap?
It's the same, Sim.
Oh, come on.
How is it not the same?
Gray is an 18-year-old centre mid who has never played in the Premier League. He's playing centre back week in, week out. Mwani's a World Cup fighter.
How many goals has Mwani scored in the league?
I don't care. Mwani
then your argument is pointless then, Sim,
no,
isn't
it's not. Your argument is crazy.
Yes, it is.
Your argument is
crazy. Where did our goals come from, Sim? You talk about attacking football. You talk about attacking football.
Your argument's nuts.
You talk about attacking football. Where did our goals and assists come from last season?
Yeah, mainly those players.
Oh, so where's the players this season then? Who's going to give up those goals and assists?
Kudus and Mwani. I just
And
said.
are they?
They're not
Yeah, but
good.
are they?
They're
Sim,
not as
Sim.
good as those.
Those players.
No, I'm
those
not
players
saying
are not
they're as
proven.
good. I never said they're
Those
as
players
good.
are not proven in the Premier League, Sim.
Kudus is.
Last season, what did Kudus? How many goals did Kudus score last season?
What about the year before?
Yeah, he was playing in a better West Ham team that season as well.
Exactly. West Ham were bullshit last year, and he was playing left wing. What's your point?
The point, Sim, is that we had a better attack last season, so we were able to score more and create more goals. This season, we've had a far weaker attack, and we've had a better defence. Isn't there a correlation, Sim, in the fact that we've had a better attack last season and a worse defence last season, but this season we've had a worse attack and a better defence?
You're not listening to what I'm saying.
It's literally the
You're
same
not listening.
thing.
You know, it's not the same thing. It's not
Yes,
the
it
same
is.
thing. No, because
Yes,
right
it is.
now, do we have internationals who've cost big money playing in our forward
What
line? Yes or no?
internationals? Tell me which
Xavi,
internationals.
Moani, Kudus. They're all
Xavi,
internationals, yeah.
Xavi
Scored
is
in a Euro semi-final for Holland.
Xavi is a 22-year-old who's never played Premier League football.
Okay.
And
Has he
and
played
we've had
Champions
this-
League football, Danny? Has he played Champions League football?
Does that make a difference?
Yes.
Why does it make a difference?
Because he's
Are
played
you
at the top
serious?
level. He's played at the top level. That's why.
Timo
The
Werner's
Premier
played
League
Champions
is the
Doesn't
hardest
matter.
league in the world, Sim.
I understand that.
So then you're saying it doesn't matter then? Your argument makes no sense.
Why does it make no sense?
Because the Premier League is the most physical and the hardest league to play in because of the physicality.
So you're
of it,
saying having
right?
Xavi is the equivalent of having great centre back in terms of quality.
No,
Is that what you're
I'm saying
that's what you're saying.
I'm saying Maddison is a better player than Xavi Simons in the Premier League because he is proven to be
I'm
one
not
of the
disagreeing with that. I'm just saying Xavi's not shit, and he's not as good. He's not as bad as having great centre back, who's a 18-year-old centre mid who has never played in the Premier League, which is what you're saying.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Then
I'm
it
saying
is.
our attack overall, Sim, right?
Yeah.
Our attack overall is nowhere near the level that what it was
I
last
don't
season.
disagree with that, but it's not bullshit.
So then
it's
what-
not terrible.
It is because
No,
how
it's
many?
not.
So you're going to sit here and tell me that Tell is great, Odebear is great, and Richarlison's
You're
great.
putting words in my mouth. I'm saying it's not terrible. You're putting words in my mouth saying it's great. I'm saying it's not terrible. I'm saying Gray, Davis, and Forster is terrible. That's shit. That's relegation quality.
Yeah, I
Can we
agree.
Is Kudus, Moani, and Xavi relegation quality?
Kudus, Muwani, and who?
Xavi, is that relegation quality?
What's that got
No,
to
that's
do-
not relegation quality.
Right,
But that's not the
my
comparison.
point. So yes, it is the
But
comparison.
that's not the comparison.
Yes,
No, it's
it
not.
is. Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It
Mick,
is.
please, give
No,
me some
Sim,
sort
it's
of...
not. How's that? How
How?
are you
Because
comparing?
we were comparing last
It's-
season. You're saying, Danny, look, just pause one sec. Pause. Okay. You're saying last season, right? We had all our defenders out, so our defense was shit, right? This season, you're saying we have all our attackers out, so our attack is shit, right?
Yes.
My point being is last season we had a shit defense, which is why our defense was shit, right? Yeah. Can we agree? This season, we don't have a shit attack. We have a decent attack. It's not as good as last season, but it's still decent. It's still got good players in it,
Tell
right?
Richarlison, Odebear, Madison, Kulu, Madison, Kulu, Son.
Moani, Xavi. They're good players who cost big money.
Right.
That's my point.
We have got good players there, Sim. But
There
we don't
go.
have a...
There
oh my
we
God,
go.
you're
They're not
listening.
better. They're not better.
I never
Sim.
said
They're nowhere
better.
near the level.
Where did I say they were better? Where did I say they were better?
We were saying.
I said they're decent.
You're saying that the squad is better this year than last year, and it's not.
Yes, it
not.
is.
No, it's not. I can't
just
believe
showed it to you.
You
Defense
just
and
said-
goalkeeper, yes. Attack, no.
Yes, because we have the defence this season. We have Romero, Van de Ven, and Vicario.
Oh,
This is
Sim.
crazy.
What do you
This is
mean?
crazy, Sim. This is crazy. I don't understand how you think that we have a
Okay.
better team this year.
Of course we do. Because
No,
we
we
have
don't.
Romero, Van de Ven,
Ben
and Vicario.
Davies
all
is playing
fit.
at left back, Sim.
Yeah, well, how many games has he played?
It doesn't matter. He's on the
Spence-
pitch.
Spence
He's
has
on the
been playing.
pitch.
He's on the
Spence
pitch,
has
though,
been
yeah.
playing.
He's on
Spence
the
has been
pitch.
playing, and Doggy's been injured as well. But
Sim.
Doggy was injured for lots of last season anyway. So that's also doesn't matter.
A doggy's always injured.
Yeah,
A doggy's
okay.
always injured.
Fine.
Right? Well, a doggy's got bad injury problems, of course. So everyone has injury
Vicario
problems.
might as well be injured because he's fucking toilet.
But Sim, this is the thing, right? The issue we have at the moment is that the players who are in an attack. This is how I see what's happening on the football pitch, right? Because our attacking players are not good enough. What happens is, and what I saw again today, is when they get the ball from an attacking position, they either miscontrol it, lose possession, or they misplace a pass.
Or they have
And
no
what
one within 20 yards of them because they've got no options. That's usually what happens.
Well, okay, right. Let's just say that's what it is, right? Then we lose the ball, right? We lose the ball and then the other team has an attack, right? That happens far too much in the last few years, right? Especially, like you say, this season, right? Because the attack are not good enough to control and keep the ball, right? So what that does is it puts pressure on the defense, which is why we concede goals, right?
Very good, Danny. It's
So,
correct.
So, Sim, what I'm trying to say to you, because you're obviously not understanding because you're so deluded, right?
Oh my
Right?
God,
Why is it that we are conceding goals?
Yeah.
And why is it that we can't score enough goals this season or create
Because
enough
of the
goals?
setup.
So it's nothing to do with the players, Sim.
And the players, but mostly the setup.
Okay, if that's what you think. All
Because
right.
we go long ball constantly. You know where we rank for long passes this season? We're like 3rd in the league. You know that? Because
that's
that's
crazy.
what we
Yeah.
attempt. That's Frank's whole game is get the ball to Porro, lump it forward, and fight for the second ball, or Kudus can get under control. That's what he did at Brentford. That's how we created chances, is literally just going long and playing long ball. When you do go long, you have higher chance of losing the ball. That's how it works, because you've got big defenders who are very physical and they can win the ball back for their team. That's why all the top teams don't do that. They play short, they try and build up, and they build up progressively through the centre, through the
We
thirds,
can't do
or
that
out
'cause
wide.
our players aren't
No,
good
it's
enough.
not just to do with the players.
Yes,
it's what
it
Frank's
is.
instructions. No, it's
Yeah,
not.
okay, but Sim, don't you think, Sim, that he's doing that because we don't have the players to play the way he wants to play?
This is how he wants to play.
No, it's not. He said it at the end of the game today. How he played in the second half is how he wants to play.
Well,
so
then,
you're going to sit there.
then he's not able to coach how he wants to play because he's not a good enough coach.
No, because he doesn't have the players to do that type of football on a consistent basis. That's the problem. And I'm not going to sit here and say Frankie's going to be this guy.
But wait, it's not how he played at Brentford. So why do we expect him to play any differently?
He played a lot better than what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, it's better because they were used to it, but it wasn't any different.
Yeah, because he had years to
ball.
build. Because he had years to build his system and build the players up to play the system.
They were a long ball team, and also teams against Brentford, they don't sit back. So
they were
easier to
brilliant
play.
on the transition, Brentford.
Yeah.
They're one of the highest scorers in the league last season.
Yeah.
So we're going to sit there and ignore that then?
Yeah, for a reason. He did very well.
Yeah,
First, we had
because
he had
quality players, Sim. They had Bremo Vista.
They did, but that's also because everyone comes out to try and beat Brentford. No one goes into a game against Brentford and tries to defend. That's not what they do.
I agree with that, okay? But they still played better football than what we're seeing Tottenham play football this season, right? And for me, it's because look, Stell made a good point earlier on, right? And I've been saying this for a long time. If you give Frank players, right, he's going to get us into a top 6 team. He'll make us into a top 6 team. I don't doubt that for a fact. I do not doubt that one bit, right? Especially if we get all of our players fit and firing. He will get us into a top 6 battle, for sure. But is there anything else he's going to do? We don't know, right? Maybe not, maybe yes. But fans cannot expect us to go from 17th in the league to challenging for top 4 or top 5 or top 6. It's going to take time because the first thing we've got to do is we need to have a fucking plan and decide what philosophy we want to play, what style of football we want to play, and then bring in the people who are going to be able to implement that plan.
Correct.
Right?
I agree. And Frank is not that guy, is my point.
He might not be that guy, Sim. We don't know that, right? Okay, let's just, for argument's sake, he is not that guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then what happens is we've got if he gets sacked, right? Whether it's whether it's in the next couple of games or end of the season, they have got to sack anyone who's related into the team that they built for recruitment, right? Because this recruitment structure they've got at this football club is what I think is one of the biggest problems. Not just the board, right? I think it's the way that the club are recruiting. It is a disgrace. The way that we've recruited under Lange and Paratici over the last few years is diabolical. And I think if they want to get an attacking manager or someone who's going to play that style of system or that style of football, then they need to bring in people like your Paul Mitchells, those type of people who are going to actually bring in players that fits a philosophy of a manager, so they're all going the one way. Right now, I don't think the club even know what they're going to do. That's why Frank is probably still in the job, right?
I agree with that.
I think what they will do is, if we keep losing games, the next 3 or 4 games, I'm not sure he's still going to be in a job. I think they probably will pull the trigger, but we still have to wait and see what happens in this January window, because the only thing we've signed right now is a 19-year-old kid, which is ridiculous because we've now lost another striker for an injury, and we've got 2 midfielders and 1 winger fit, 2 wingers fit for the next however long, next few months. So they've got some serious work to do, and if they don't do that work, Sim, honestly, mate, I couldn't care less who the manager is. Because if they don't do what they should do in this window, to me, it shows me that they will never have a plan and they will never change, right? And that's why I said, bring back Ryan Mason, give him a 50-year contract, bring in Harry Winks, get them all back. Let's all sign them all back in, and let's just have some fun. Because honestly, like, I couldn't care less at the moment.
I'm up for some fun. I am up for some fun, that's for sure. Get Ange back.
Oh, God.
Bring the
All
chaos.
right, what about if we bring
fun.
Emerson Royale back then, Nick?
Ange and Emerson, let's just do it.
Get the team back together.
Get the band back together.
Do you know what the funny thing is? Do you know what the funny thing is?
Well. Yeah,
do you know what the funny thing is? All these problems started when Emerson Royale got sold.
You know, before I go, I just think that it right now, I know fans want the manager sacked, and I've heard all the things about who they want to bring in as an interim, because let's face it, there's no way they're going to get a permanent manager if they sack Frank in the next month, right? Within the next couple of weeks.
No, Danny, but you know what the answer is, and you know what ENIC will do, because ENIC did this when they got rid of Daniel Levy. They got themselves off the hook a little bit. They'll bring back Poch because it will make everyone feel good again. And when Poch fails, what's the excuse going to be? Is it going to be Poch? Is it going to be the manager again?
Of course it'll be the manager.
It won't be these players or the board or anything else,
Of course it'll be the manager. Of course, it always is, Nick. It's always the manager, never the players or the board. I know some of us do know that the board are the biggest problem in this football club, but the thing is that you have to build. The reason why Poch worked the first time, because he had everything in place. It kind of all fell together at the same time. Everything came together at the same time, and he was able to kind of, the way he did it was he kind of dragged us into a new culture with the board above him trying to keep us back down where they wanted us. And when he got to that point where he had to go to the next level, that's when they were at loggerheads, because they didn't want to make that step, and he did, and that's where it all fell apart. And it's just been on a downward spiral ever since then. And for me, like, it's why I say it's him. I never wanted Frank in the first place. I thought he was a sideways step to Ange. I rather would have seen Ange given a go with some better quality players. As much as he was. My guy. He was not the guy. He deserved to be given the chance. And I said that as well before he got sacked, because of what he did. And I think if you give him top players, maybe you'll see a different outcome. Maybe you won't, but at least he deserved the chance, because I thought going for someone like Thomas Frank, it didn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, none at all. So for me, that's why I say I don't care who the manager is. If he gets sacked, good riddance. If he gets sacked, like good riddance, right? I'll be interested to see what plan this club have in place for him going, because if he goes, Lange has to go 1,000,000%. He has to go. Like, he has to go with Thomas Frank if they sack him. Because if he stays, forget it. Just you might as well just rip up your season ticket. Like, honestly. And I feel sorry for the people who are going to have to renew, because I don't think I'll renew if Lange is still at this football club next season.
Danny, appreciate you calling, bro. Nice to see you. Everyone's
nice to see you boys as well.
Danny. What a great ending to the call.
You deluded Danny.
Should have given Ange season 3. Season 3, what we didn't have.
Look at all these people now coming in saying, "Oh, we love Ange. We should have given Ange another season." Two of the biggest flip-floppers ever.
I was saying it before, but I'm looking forward to hearing what Josh has to say, so I'll go so he can have his say now.
Big up, Danny.
Big up,
Good to see
Lloyd.
you, bro.
Mate. Bye.
Danny, didn't expect that right at the end. Didn't
What?
see that coming.
Didn't see the love.
After spending the whole time defending Frank, goes, should have given Ange season 3.
I don't think he's defending. I actually don't think Danny was for defending Frank.
He's been
No.
Frank.
He was He was saying about the players.
Someone who I know ain't going to give Frank no excuses is Josh. Let's bring him on. How you doing, Josh? It's good to see you, mate.
Good, gents. How are you?
Yeah, look, we're doing all right.
Top of the world.
Let me ask you,
Here we go.
This is what your expertise at. This is, you've been brilliant since calling in, and you're talking about a high performance kind of background. When you see Tottenham perform in that first half like they did, just slow, just reactive. Second half, we're going after we're going after them, we're attacking, we get the goal, and we have the intensity. What when you watch that, what do you think's going on there?
Yeah, it's interesting because I said when Stel was on, there's just so much that he says that makes sense, but then what Danny said too, I think there's a lot of credibility to it as well. The squad clearly has either a lack of confidence, are confused, or the messaging about how they're meant to be playing is not getting through, because when you look at those windows of time, most of our games we start passive. On the odd occasion we get to a point where I think where we're playing a team where we think we're on par, or maybe we've got the wood on them. We can start pretty aggressive. Burnley, West Ham earlier in the season, but I think for the most part, when we get those teams where we're just not sure, and certainly the teams that are way better, as we just go into our shells. And like when I look at the team we had last year, if you look at the players that we had last year, I think Van der Ven has held his own. I think, and he's either held his own, or the regression of the rest of the players has disguised potentially his regression. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure about that, because I think as far as his commitment and his consistency across his performances, I think he's easily the best player that we've had this year. But just the basic skill errors from players that were here last year, and it's across the board. Bentancur, Porro, the times that Johnson has been on the pitch, just basic errors of over hitting passes, just balls just going straight out over the sideline. I just don't know. I can't put my finger on the drop in skill other than Frank, and that confusion and that uncertainty, and maybe a very maybe a much larger sort of a much larger chasm as far as how Ange was getting them to play versus how Frank wants them to play. I don't know. There's just no cohesion. There's no like sequencing in our passing. It's just very, very average. And like if you're going to play that way for long enough, that stuff starts to bury itself in your mind, and that's where you get this caution getting into the final third. Like it's almost like the final third has a force field that we can't get through in a fashion that makes the defense go, hang on a minute, we're in trouble here, and it frustrates me so much. There was a moment in today's game where we were on the halfway line, and it gets really annoying when you see players that are waiting for someone else to do something. And so Tell found the space, and as soon as the pass was made through to him, you watched Aston Villa unsure about what to do next. The defence, they had questions. When you've only got one method of attack, it's very easy to defend. But when you've got multiple options, then all of a sudden the defence has to... There's multiple potential decisions that the defence has to make. And at some point, they're going to make the wrong one. and then you get your opportunity. That's not happening enough for Spurs. Now, I don't know whether that's coached or whether that's a lack of confidence, but you know, last year under Ange, under Poch, absolutely. You know, any one of 2 or 3 people could potentially have scored a goal. And I heard you go off today, Sim. It's like, where's the man? You know, it's like, where's the person? You know, like, how often do we hear that? Or, you know, I'm screaming at it at the television screen from home. You know, so look, I'm not sure. The only thing that I am sure of is we have real issues next season. I think next season could be a potential relegation season for us.
Why next season? Yeah, go on. Sorry, I interrupt.
Well, because I don't think it's this season. Because look, whether the club keeps Frank around or not, I think is absolutely irrelevant. We could get God come and manage our team, and I just don't think that the headwinds that the manager and the squad face because of the decisions, the high performance decisions that are made in the background, it doesn't matter who we have. It really doesn't, and that's the scary thing for me, because I think this year I think West Ham, Wolves, and Burnley are going to go down. I think that's pretty obvious. You know, even this, you know, with this far to go. But I think we're safe. But I think next year, unless some real changes are to be made, I just don't see how. I think we're in a lot of trouble. And you know, going back to Frank has periodically had these things that come out of his mouth, and they're the things that worry me the most. And he had another one this week where he said that he's not enjoying the role. Oh, I just was like, what? If I'm in the Tottenham squad, and the guy who's supposed to inspire me to be better, that is supposed to prepare me, is supposed to invest in me and make me a better player, a better human being, all of that sort of stuff, and he's not enjoying. We've all had jobs where we're like, geez, my manager sucks, you know, like I'm just treading water here because he's not inspired. He's not motivating me to be better than what I am. There's no path to success with this sort of guy. And so when the manager comes along and says something like that, I just go, and he keeps one-upping himself. You know, a few weeks before that, it was 60 games and, you know, 30 are going to be average and 10 to 12 are going to be perfect. It's just like, mate, just shut your mouth. Like, you just...
Yeah, then there was the after the fans and having a go at the pub and the pop of the fans.
And he keeps saying, you got to remember we finished 17th last season, and you know, keeps bringing that up, and in terms of that's like a benchmark, and that's a lot of issues that a lot of fans have with Frank and how he talks to the media about that kind of stuff. And as you say, as a player, as someone in the dressing room, you hear your manager speak in that way. When it was just as well when you're off the back of a Europa League, regardless of what happened in the league, that was obviously an idea for a lot of these players. This was a big moment for them, right? And they felt like this was an achievement. They felt like this was a monumental achievement, which they could all kind of grow from and build on. And then Frank comes in and gives him that message. What do you think a player in that dressing room who's just won a trophy would think of that?
Well, can you imagine what Romero's thinking with his CV, listening to Frank? He's got to be going, what in the world am I doing here? Do you know what I mean? Like he's won it. He's apart from the Premier League, he's won it all for his country.
But Frank would say, "I'm just being realistic. We got to be realistic with where we are." He said the other day, you know, it's one thing having the motto "To dare is to do," but another thing being the reality of where we are. So is he right to be honest about his feelings about he's just being realistic, or should he be deluded? Should he give off a deluded impression, like, oh, we can reach for the stars?
Well, there's a separation between like having expectations, right? But also, you know, so internally, this is how I would do it. Internally, you're realistic, right? But you are always looking one step ahead of your potential, right? That's like the promised land. You've got to look to the future and you know, irrespective of, and don't get me wrong, like Frank he's literally got the toughest job in the world, because when you do when a squad does what it did last year with a new manager essentially, but under the under the duress that they did it in, and they still get the job done. There's a bond there that is uniquely strong, right? So when they whether they punted Ange or not, I didn't care. What pissed me off is how long they took to do it. That's what annoyed me, right? Because if you're going to do it, right? Because they basically wasted that entire transfer window with umming and ahhing and what do we do and blah, 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 blah. And all of your high-performing potential players who are looking at Spurs as somewhere to come are going, these guys are basket cases. I can't try. If you can't be as decisive as you need to be in this situation, I can't trust you. And for me, that's the greater issue. The greater issue here, and I say it all the time, the high-performance brand of Spurs is in the toilet. You're not going to get the manager you need. You're not going to get the players you need until what happens back of house is cleansed to where you get people who are reliably successful. They're prepared to make the ruthless decisions that are, that just need to be made if Spurs are going to be. They've got to get out of the crap that they're in before they even think about being a top 4 team.
But this is it. Because we've lost so many games, it's just ingrained now in this squad, right? Because it started with Ange, and it's just carried on. I mean, I can't remember a time when we were better away from home than we were. I mean, you go back to that last season at White Hart Lane when we won 18 out of 19 or 17 out of 19.
Unbeaten, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But if we have this rebrand in the summer. Daniel Levy's gone. We have new people in place. Vinay, Lange take more control. Fabio, who looks like he might be leaving now. There's Charrington. So when you're assessing that job, obviously ENIC as a name are still the owners, and they're still the owners of the club, but they've essentially trying to portray that they're not the ENIC of old. It's a new thing. So should fans be sceptical of that from your opinion, or the fact that it's still the same ENIC? Should they be like, well, it's same ENIC, same decisions, same thing happening?
Look, for me, it's just a different shade of lipstick on the same pig. I mean, really, like, again, this is cultural, right? There is a living, breathing, underperformance organism that is Spurs, right? Now, until the things that have created that organism are gone, you can expect the organism to procreate, to remain the same. It's just this is how cultures work. So, for me, like today's game, this is where I stand. Today's game, I'm happy to continue to support Spurs and just hang on in the hope that sometime, some big venture capital conglomerate from the US who, has a high performance background in any category, I don't care what it is, sport, business, whatever, comes along and makes an offer that's too good to refuse. I just don't think. I think that's where we're at, because it's even if you were to. You have to get rid of the nucleus of how the organisation operates, and the nucleus is the ownership, and they may never want to. They may want to pass it on to their kiddies, and watch the whole shit show continue. So.
And let me ask you about another thing that was obviously that bore his head again today is injuries. Richarlison picks up an injury. We're now in the midst of yet another injury crisis. I think it's now 11 first-team injuries that we currently have. Last season, obviously, we had 13, 14 injuries at a time, it seemed. Why, when you're looking at that situation, why do you think we're just kind of... I know it's also a problem within football, but it seems very specific to Tottenham in terms of the true amount so consistently. We never seem to have our full team, ever. We always seem to have a big amount of injuries. So what do you think is the cause of that? Is it just, too many games? Is there something deeper going on? A lot of people last season said, it's Ange, it's his ways, the way we play, that's what's causing the injuries. But now we've changed manager. And the last couple of weeks, we've had Kudus, Bergvall, Bentancur, now today Rishi, all picking up big muscular injuries in the last week or so. So, what do you think about that situation?
Yeah, look, I when Ange came into Spurs, from an injury perspective, I didn't know much about his history, and there's no getting around the fact that his squads in the initial phases of his tenure at the clubs, they do struggle with hamstring injuries. And so, when I sort of understood that, I thought, maybe it is Ange in the sort of way he the demands of the press and transition that is causing that. But I mean, for people, and maybe there's some Australians in the chat still, even though it's getting awful late.
There is a lot because of
it's actually probably early now.
The Australian stream apparently went down, so there's quite a lot of Aussies that were coming and watching Stan Sports. Anyway, keep going.
But so the thing is, you look at a central midfielder, right? They're the people that run the most back and forward and lateral and all that sort of stuff. On average, they do about 13, 14 kilometres a match, right? And in Australia, we've got a sport called Australian Rules Football. It's similar as far as the structure to soccer, except I'm not sure whether you guys know it's a football, it's an oval ball. Mm-hmm. You can pick it up, but the rover, who would be the comparable player in football, does double that distance, 25, 26 kilometres, and they still have the same sprints. And we don't have anywhere near the number of hamstring injuries that we do in that sort of sport. So is it the medical team? Is it the recovery standards? Is it too much game time? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many different things that it possibly could be. I don't know, but I thought for a little while that I think the medical team, probably, has to take some of the blame, from a recovery standpoint.
I don't understand, Josh. Sorry, I don't understand that with having seen the training ground and the facilities and everything that we've got there.
All the money,
all the money. It's like how do we? It's like. It's almost like, and if anyone's seen it, it's almost like we've got Dr. Nick from The Simpsons in charge of the medical team, because that's how it's like. Do you know what? Do you know what I mean? Because that place is like, it's like a 5-star hotel. Like,
do you think all medical teams across like football, the Premier League, like, do you think they all just basically do the same thing? Are medical teams tailored to certain clubs? Are there things they can do differently, or is it just like, what is it? Just a basic thing? Recovery, science is science, medical is medical. There's no real difference club to club.
Look, I mean, I guess you would probably think that 90% of medical teams are doing the same thing, but that's the thing. It's in that 10% where you get, the next the next level of excellence, right? And this is a completely different story. But it blew when I stopped swimming. I got into the workforce, and I was managing some franchises, some cafe franchises in the CBD of Brisbane, and I had other mates who had gone into accounting and law and all that sort of stuff. And here's the big mistake that I made, and I think I guess the general public would make with a situation like Spurs or an organisation like Spurs. I viewed the corporate world as the Olympic equivalent of business, right? And I think because you see the stadium and you see the budgets and these players and how much they're getting paid and all that sort of stuff, and you think well, they're at the pinnacle of the sport. Surely they've got to be the best at what they do. Well, I used to go in and try and get catering contracts with some of these, and we're talking Ernst & Young, PricewaterhouseCoopers, like the top of the top. I thought the water cooler conversation thing was BS. Like, I thought, wasting time. Mate, the amount of time wasted I saw in these offices. I'm looking in going, is anyone doing any work? Like, I said, how do you handle this? So Pat Murphy was a good mate of mine, 200 freestyle. I'm like, mate, how do you handle this stark difference in performance? Look what we did in the pool, and look at this. This is a joke. People are turning up getting 6 figures, and are they working at all? He goes, mate, it's unbelievable. And I think the same thing can be said for, Spurs, right? We look from the outside in thinking, man, look at the shiny, glossy pitch and all that sort of stuff. Mate, you get inside these organisations, and this is for the last 6 to 8 years, Spurs have been an underperforming and an underwhelming club. And it all comes back to how they operate internally. And what happens at the board level and at the ownership, and I mean, I hope this doesn't get out to the guy who employs me, but I look at some of the things The company that I work for does boxing equipment. I used to go into retail stores and I would walk in and have a look around and have a conversation. And I would walk out depressed that the economy would support a business that operated so poorly. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I just think, how does this, well, like, I don't know. It was a real shock. And I think you're seeing that with Spurs. Look at the end product. The end product is what's happening on the pitch, right? That is synonymous with what's going back, with what's happening back of house, and yeah, it's frustrating as hell because we just yeah.
And when you've got, also want to get your thoughts on the whole. So we saw Romero have that statement last week. He about board level, telling a few lies, all that kind of stuff. So he's got a frustration with the board, clearly. Yep. A lot of the players commented, liked that message as well. So when you've got that feeling within the dressing room, how do you go about overcoming that? How do the board and the club deal with that situation when you've essentially got apparently, it seems, a dressing room that isn't happy with the hierarchy, which publicly we've never really had before?
Yeah, I mean, that's when it gets really, really difficult because now there's a tug of war, right, essentially between the high performance arm of the club and the business side of the club. They're essentially butting heads through Romero. And that goes back to what I was saying about, him with the high performance and the success and his expectations. Sure, he can lose his mind a little bit, but, I don't necessarily mind that because sometimes things need to be shaken up, and he's clearly the person to do it because he really doesn't give a shit. But again, who's going to win? It's not going to be Romero. I promise you that. So I look. I don't know. That's a hard one. But again, it goes back to the club has to fundamentally change the way they operate, and. We all know through Levy how focused they were on the bottom line, from a financial perspective. But at some point, they have to. Mate. It's their business; they can do whatever they want. But as fans, we want them to make that adjustment where what happens on the pitch is at least the same priority level as what's happening, from a business perspective. But look, there's no indication. I mean, look where we are in this transfer window again.
Yeah. Same thing. We just signed a 19-year-old. That's where we're at again.
And that's the problem. Unless the organisation starts to change the way they operate, they will always have to overpay to attract average talent. Because we're not a success destination. Like if you look at the opportunity of Spurs, what is it? It's certainly not winning things. Yeah. Right. So why would I come here? Well, beautiful change rooms, beautiful training grounds, great stadium to play in front of, blah, blah. And there are players that's all they want. That's all they want, But if we want to attract the better players, then we need to become more, because otherwise we are going to overpay for average players. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like look at what City just played for Semenyo.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like $65 million. Do we have that? Yeah, we have that. 65 for City, 65. What would you have to? We'd have to pay 90, right, to get Semenyo.
Yeah.
And he probably still wouldn't come because he wants to win.
Well, look at what they paid for Haaland. What was it? 47, 50?
They paid for but wages and agent fees.
But what do we pay for? What do we pay for Solanke?
No, there's reports, Josh, that we were prepared to pay a bigger financial package to Semenyo than any of the other clubs, but he just didn't want to come to us.
For sure.
Yeah, and that's
there's a ton of them. Like we were half a chance for Savinho, and now I thought Pep was never going to let go of him. But again, and it's now like the worst thing about it is the market knows it now.
Yeah.
Right. So if we're going to get a transfer, we're always going to pay overs because we don't have what the best players want, which is the opportunity for success and then to further their career so that they can go on to a PSG or a Real Madrid or a Barcelona or whatever. It's just the cycle that we're in.
Josh, Appreciate you calling in, mate. Thanks for giving up your time as always.
Thanks, guys.
And, good to see you.
Cheers, Josh.
Yeah, and we're gonna beat West Ham.
Well, all right, some confidence. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll
I
beat
love
them
the
2-0, I reckon.
confidence.
So we're staying up.
I reckon we will.
We're staying up.
Yeah.
We're staying up.
Staying up.
Nice one, Josh.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you.
Thanks,
Cheers,
chat.
guys.
Cheers.
See ya. Bye.
All right, is that the last one?
There's one guy who's got saying in the chat he's been waiting for a while. I'll let him get on.
All right, let him get him on. I'm just going to run to the toilet quickly and we'll
Get him
we'll
on.
Get one
Get
more
him
on.
on.
Get one more on. Let me just. Can you maybe read some super chats while I'm there?
I can.
Sorry, just gonna run.
Let me. Sim's running while I'm trying to find them.
You go.
Is there any Sammy you can bring up remotely?
Yeah.
We're gonna get it on. It's late here, but we're still going.
Sergio. Can you read these now?
You what? We had Sergio Reguilon giving appearances. Greater. STF up, Danny Boy. Last season was worse. Okay, that was that wasn't a very nice one. So let's see. This is the guy that's coming on, right? Is there any more?
You can rejoin. Yeah. This one.
Who the hell wants to come here when we, the fans, throw so much hate between us towards the squad and the youngsters we sign? I don't get the hating. We are killing our own club from within. Come on, you Spurs.
Right.
There we go.
Let's.
I can't find them. So.
Oh, is he not coming on?
I don't know if you can you re-add once you remove someone. I don't know.
Should be able to. What's it say? Who the hell wants to come here when the fans throw so much hate between us towards the squad and the youngsters we sign? I don't get hating. I get what he's saying because I feel like we spend a certain amount of money on youngsters, and then we're so impatient that we start calling them shit. They're rubbish. Oh, when we need to give them time. It's not their fault. They're not ready yet, and we just throw them in this thing that they're just crap. And I understand that's not very good, but. From a Tottenham fans' point of view, we spent our budget on these youngsters.
I think the trouble is that people it's like life. Everything we all want everything, instant gratification. We want it now. We want it quick. We want it yesterday, and I think that's what we want. We got all this, and I think that's why you do get the people. It's like this Salza, right? He's played 20 games.
Yeah, 20 games for
So like, how is anyone going to sit there and say, "Oh, he's going to be a baller or generational talent," or do you know what I mean? Because we don't know.
It's true, but you also, in a perfect world, he comes in as backup, and you give him time to develop. But then we're asking him to come in and play because the doggy's injured.
Yeah, but that's when that comes back to Stell's point of view, is that we need to sign proven players, and goes back to Josh's point. 65 million wasn't a lot for Semenyo, but we're having to pay another 30 million on top to try and get him even interested. Because the players that we're signing are not players that are making this team better.
And we've also got Left Gulas says Sim is the only reasonable person on this channel. Agree?
No.
No?
No. Only deluded person on the panel does it say?
No, only reasonable. Reasonable. That's what it says. I didn't say it.
Is that your account? Is that your sock account?
I don't have any sock accounts.
Yeah? Okay.
No.
Right.
No, he seems like, I'm actually looking at his picture. He seems like a reasonable person.
Yeah?
Yeah, he seems like gives good opinions.
Does he?
Yeah.
That's your opinion.
No, it's not that.
No,
my opinion is that he's reasonable.
There's plenty of people in the chat that have been disagreeing with you as well as agreeing with you, Sim, that I've been watching,
I
mate.
didn't say this. This is a super chat.
Okay. Well, let's see.
He's saying reasonable. Just saying.
Just reasonable.
Who am I to disagree with a person who sent us a super chat?
Yeah.
Jerome, you see this one? Was this part of the fan show? Must have been 165. Yeah. Bloody hell, been live for a long time. Barry, you are just deflecting because Frank is failing miserably, and you are just trying to say the players are crap. You are absolutely deluded, and you said Frank will do wonders with this team.
When did I say Frank would do
You
wonders?
said Frank would do wonders. The 10
Show me
wonders of the world.
where I said that.
Wonders.
I'm not deflecting away from Frank. Look, I'm not saying that Frank's
deflecting.
Deflecting.
You deflector.
I'm not saying that Frank isn't guilty, because he is. But I just think these players have something to blame as well.
Wonders.
Huh?
You would do wonders.
Did I say that? Show me the clip.
Split the Red Sea.
Show me the
You
clip.
would do all sorts of miracles.
Show me the clip. Where's the receipts?
Well, Jerome 2114, you've got a challenge. You need to show
me the receipts, Jerome.
Barry, shove it in his face.
2114. I want to see those receipts.
All right, let's get Ricky on. Richie, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I hope I'm doing it right. How you doing, my friend? Thanks for waiting, and appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
How are we doing today?
Today, frustrating day, I must say. You know, it's been a hard season. Last season was tough. This season is tougher. First of all, I just wanted to say you guys do a great job, because
Thank you.
I've been following you for the last 8-9 years. You know, I've been a fan since 2006, 7 when I was
lover.
like 7-8 years old. You know, Dimitar Berbatov, man, he scored against Charlton in the FA Cup. So the FA Cup means a lot to me, and today the way we played was very disappointing. But again, it's not new, but at the same time, it's frustrating. I just wanted to talk about Thomas Frank. You know, I was so excited when we said Thomas Frank is going to be the new manager, because I was upset that we sacked Ange, because I felt that he justified by winning. He justified to get a second chance in our club, but we sacked him. And after that, we had to accept that. So we accepted it, and then when we got Thomas Frank, I thought, wow, this guy, I knew he's not going to play attractive football, but he was going to play efficient football. That's what I thought, because what he did in Brentford, I could see that it works. But the problem with him coming here is he reminds me of Graham Potter in Chelsea, David Moyes in United, and it's not good, because he's not doing the things he did in Brentford. Forget the things he could become or he could do, but even the manager he was a season ago, he's not doing that. And that's one that makes me feel that he's not the right manager for the job. And the other reason is that he does not carry himself well in interviews. Because you see, it's one thing to be struggling as a club. It's another thing to have the fans on your side. And when you are going and giving quotes like, "Oh, we're going to lose games," you know, in the beginning, like, of course we know we're going to lose games, but you don't go and say it out like that, you know. Like the way he conveys his messages has not got fans on the side. And when you don't have fans on your side, your job becomes tougher. So those are the main two things. And whether it's about winning or approaching games and all, that's fine. But he has to be able to articulate in a way where he can get the fans on his side also, because even the Arsenal Cup, the Coffee Cup situation, he should have just said, you know, even if he was not aware of it, he should have just denied it. But instead of that, he was like, "Oh, it's sad that, you know, you're asking me questions about the cup and all that." Like, of course we're going to ask as fans, because we're not doing well. And on top of that, we're seeing things like that, which makes us frustrated, you know? Yeah. So that's the opening.
What specifically that Frank says? Why do you what don't you like about what he says in press conferences?
It's not what I don't like. It's about how he's not able to convey his points. You know, like for example, today in the post-match interview, he said, "We're trying." When he was asked about the competing on all fronts, and he said that it's a disappointment, that it's a failure, and that, you know, we really tried by playing players like Mickey Van de Ven and players who should have been rested. And I get that, I understand that, but when we want to compete on all fronts, then we have to be playing these players on all fronts also, because we don't have the squad depth. So now he can't be coming and giving that point as, you know, as a problem, because he or not him but the club, and since he has been like made as the spokesperson of the club because he's the manager, So now he has to come and say, "Oh, we want to compete on all fronts, but we had to also play players like Mickey Van Deven in all the tournaments." And like that's difficult, I understand, but at the same time you have to articulate that better, because now fans will say, "Oh, then why do we not have squad depth? Why do we not have players to cover for him so that he can rest and things like that?" So yeah.
What manager would you like to replace Frank if you were to replace him?
Well, the thing is, there's no manager in the market right now. That's what I feel. So we'll have to put an interim manager to come in for him for at least for this for the remainder of the season. And to be honest, that's not a very good option. But that is the only option that you will have if you sack Thomas Frank. And if you do that, then we can wait. Then after the World Cup, we can see which managers are available in the market. Now, as for an interim manager, I don't know how Spurs will go about it, because we don't know how the board is. There's no more Daniel Levy that one man is going to decide everything. It seems they're not able to decide anything as there's no one spokesperson there. It's a group, right? So too many cooks spoil the broth, or the term that is there. So I feel like that's happening here right now. So I don't know if Thomas Frank being sacked is the best option, but if he's sacked, then we'll have to bring an interim manager. I would say someone who would know the club well. I know we've had Ryan Mason a lot of times. Maybe someone else, maybe like Michael Carrick, or maybe like Robbie Keane. Someone who knows the club, or maybe someone older.
Not Mason.
Yeah, not Mason, because he also got recently sacked, so he might want time. That's one. The other thing I worry is if we don't sack Frank, then this is where I'm worried, because we are not doing well right now. And say we keep going this way, and if any of the teams in the bottom, Wolves, West Ham, and Leeds, if they pick up points and they start closing us down, and we get into a relegation battle, it's going to be very difficult for us, because our players are not used to fighting relegation battles, and you need a certain set of players to fight relegation battles. And by that time, if we sack Frank, we may go into a situation like how Leicester went into the situation, when they got relegated. They had the players, James Maddison and players like that, to real quality players, but they were not players used to relegation. So when they went into the situation, it's not about winning anymore. It's about getting points on the board. It's about getting those draws, 1-1, 1-1, 0-0s, and those are things where I feel we're not ready to get into. So that's one thing I would be wary of, because if we give Frank time and it goes bad, it could go really bad. And so that's one thing. But I feel like the other thing is he's known for his defensive, not defensive, but pragmatic approach. But I don't feel like Spurs is defensively better than last season, even though we played a much more attacking Spurs last season. You can expand on that.
Yeah, so you think that defensively, even though we've become more pragmatic, you think we still concede a similar amount of goals? We're not better defensively.
We don't concede the similar amount of goals. Of course, the number has decreased, but there's still that hesitation when we're defending. When we're defending, there's no confidence. We have Palina, we play Bentancur. Even if we have two CDMs in front of us, when we are playing, we show that hesitancy. We go like, oh, they're going to attack us. They're going to take 10 shots on target. And if out of those 10 shots on target, can we defend all 10? Most clubs will say, yeah, we can. But with us, it's like, maybe we can defend 8, but 2 are going in. So what are we going to do about that? That nervousness is there in our players, I feel. Especially with Pedro Porro, and I know Spence is a good defensive fullback, but playing on the left, I think it's a bit different for him. So he struggles sometimes. And our two centre backs, if it's not Mickey Van Deven and Romero, that partnership is not as efficient. I know Danso has been really good covering for either of them, but that lack of sync you can see sometimes. And Vicario, I'm sure everyone has been talking about it, but he has been making a lot of mistakes this season, so that also has not helped us.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think just with Vicario, I think it's not that he's making more mistakes. I think it's because we had a lot more shots a lot more chances that we let go last season. That actually, it seems like it's more mistakes, but actually I don't think it is more mistakes. I think it was just because actually, if we look at it, we're going to score less goals than last season, and we're going to concede less goals than last season, based on current trajectory. I mean, that can all change if we get pummeled by City, Arsenal, Man United in February.
And we're in an injury crisis now, so.
But yeah, I don't think it's that. I just think that it's highlighted more because teams are having less shots and he's making the same amount of mistakes. But just because there isn't more chances being created, that's why it looks like he's making more mistakes. If that makes sense.
Ricky, we're gonna have to go on. Make a final point. Go on.
Yeah. Just the final thing about the defense is, I don't know why, but Thomas Frank is very insistent on looking at the numbers since he's from an analytics background. But something that he has sort of ignored is the long shots, the outside the box shots that we face. He calls them low percentile chances. So, we have been conceding a lot of long shots to our opponents. And what frustrates me about that is that there are certain players who are very good at taking long shots. We ourselves, we had for 10 years Heung-min Son, who was very good at converting those long range shots, which we would call low percentile shots. And when we are giving shots like that to Semenyo, to Eberici Eze, and players like that, we are going to concede goals. And I don't blame the defense on that, but I blame the manager on that, because you have to set up in a way that, yes, you have to be pragmatic if that's your style. But you cannot ignore a certain number saying this is low percentile, so we can take a risk on that.
Do you know what, Ricky? You've just made
that's not how it works.
Do you know what, Ricky? You just made my day. Because do you know why? Because that just shows that XG is a load of bollocks. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you.
It's not a load of bollocks.
Thank you, Ricky. It is.
It's not.
Thank you.
It's not a load of bollocks.
XG. That should be the thing. XG is a load of bollocks.
All data's a load of bollocks then. If the XG's a load of bollocks.
Yeah.
All data.
No, all
stats.
No, we weren't talking about XG 10 years ago,
That's
5 years ago.
It wasn't invented.
Yeah, so whoever invented it should die a slow and painful death.
Why? Why do you hate it so much?
Because it's nonsense.
Why is it nonsense?
We don't have to we'll be here all night, Sim. You know this, because I know you won't let it go. But the other week, when some teams XG was 0.5 and they scored 4 goals, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, we'll be here all
Ricky,
night.
it's good to see you, mate. Appreciate you calling in. Thank you for waiting so long. And
thank you.
Calling again. Like to speak to you soon. Cheers.
Yeah.
See you later, man.
Cheers.
All right, well, that was the last call of the day. Spurs dumped out the FA Cup. Another bad loss. More fights after the game. Thomas Frank apparently called an Arsenal fan by the Tottenham fans as well, singing Thomas Frank's an Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
Sacked in the morning. I guess I have to wait till the morning to see what happens.
He won't be sacked.
Well, you want to put money on it?
You being deluded, and if you're not deluded, Sim, and want Ange back.
What's the expected sacking?
The expected sacking
0.01.
It's about the same as our XG.
Good to see you guys. Appreciate everyone who contributed to the show, called in, sent super chats, was with us with the watch along as well. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Ben and I will be back in the studio to break down even further, so we'll get to hear from Ben. So guys, we'll see you soon. Appreciate everyone. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.